And good evening, everyone. This is the Rooftop Sports. Here we are with Rooftop and Steve Silver. And before we even get into this game, the Houston Astros lost again.
Wow.
How about that? Now 3 games back. And if the Mariners win 2.5 games, so the opportunity is there. And just crazy that 7 days ago, we were talking about, or some were talking about, oh man, this season is over. I mean, with that Dodgers series, it kind of seemed like it, but then ever since the hiring of Dan Wilson, yes, nostalgic hire, yes, but it was still, I mean, anything to replace Scott was still a step in the right direction.
Right, but all of a sudden, you know, the team rallies around Mr. Dan Wilson, and then out of the blue, the Mariners start, you know, making contact. You know what I mean? That's like, it went from this team has no idea how to hit or square up a fastball, and then all of a sudden they're scoring 5 runs a game.
Right. And even if they're not, and even if they weren't making contact, they're at least walking.
Right. Well, I mean, it's like, but you know, they're getting hits, right? They're cashing in, and it's you know, that's the thing. It's like, was this an issue of hitting philosophy and leadership, or was do we overvalue, these players? Like, or do we put too much stock into these guys when really maybe they're just not that good? And it turns out that, maybe it really was a leadership issue. Maybe it was a situation where the messaging just was not landing anymore.
I mean, for a manager that has been there for 9 years, I also thought that the message was lost in 2018, hence why there was a fight between D. Gordon and teammates. Like, I thought that should have been it, but they still rode with it because they were thinking, well, maybe Scott will develop the young players, and then they grew out of him so quickly. And Dan Wilson, much different guy.
I always say that right around like year 5, year 6, you should replace your manager. You know what I mean? Because the messaging does get stale, and that's the thing. It's like, especially for this team where, the expectations, playoff expectations have been around now for 3 years. And, with only one playoff appearance and more setbacks and more disappointment than actual success, something had to give and something had to change.
And things have changed. Like, yeah, the key things I really liked about Dan Wilson, I don't think we didn't have a chance, but maybe we did. But on Friday, Colin Snyder had 2 outs. Conforto was up. Usually Scott Service would have yanked him because he was a lefty for Taylor Saucedo, but Dan Wilson went with the hot hand. That's what he did. Mm-hmm. His pitching decisions are better. He's letting Wu pitch a little bit longer, and Bryce Miller.
Well, as they should. You know what I mean? Yeah, no, and I agree with you. It just seems that everything that, it seems that he understands. He understands exactly where to, how to push the right buttons and exactly how to put everyone in a position of strength. And, since he's taken over, we've won 3 out of 4, but I mean, we've scored 18 runs in 4 games.
18 runs in 4 games. And in one of those games against the Giants, the Mariners actually walked more batters than they did in the 3 games combined against the Dodgers. Right. So there was at least a noticeable difference. Like, even if they weren't getting the hits, they were still making it up by getting walks and at least making it interesting. Like, at least there was a chance for them to score. Now, most of the time they still failed to score, but at least it wasn't like the Dodgers fiasco or everything that happened last month. Because I do believe if Scott was the manager for the Giants game, they would have maybe squeaked out 1 out of 3, in my opinion.
Maybe. But that's the thing. It's like you're absolutely right. I like the fact that they're taking their walks. At the very least, you're breaking into bullpens early. You know what I mean? You're dictating the terms of the game on your terms. You know what I mean? You're not basically you're not at the behest of whatever team that's in front of you. You're actually playing the game on your terms. And when more oftentimes than not, when you are doing that, you're going to get the hit. You're going to get that breakthrough. And we saw it in that game against the Giants late, and the Mariners came back. That was a game that you and I were broadcasting, and I should have stayed on a little bit longer, but Mariners came back and took care of that one. And then I believe it was in game 3, that 4-3 win.
You were also there and you've dipped.
Yep, capitalizing late, getting the winning run, and then yesterday, I mean, absolutely beating the brains in of the Rays 5-1. We had always said that all you need to do is be mediocre with this pitching staff, and then the starting rotation will take care of the rest. Now all of a sudden you're starting to get that. You're starting to get that mediocre offense kind of rolling again, and now all of a sudden they've won 3 or 4, and now it feels like they're about ready to hit their stride and go on a run. Like that's truly what it feels like right now, that they're right on the cusp of going like 8 in a row or winning 14 out of 18. You know what I mean? And really just kind of making this thing very interesting for the last couple of weeks of the season.
Let's hope they do. And as of now, like so far, what have you liked? I think we've already said it. What have you liked about Dan Wilson so far?
I like the fact that he's entrusting his coaches. Like I like somebody who delegates, and especially when it came to this offense, something had to give. And of course, Edgar Martinez rolls into T-Mobile Park and keeps it utterly simple. That's what I like the most, is the fact that hitting is not like hitting a baseball
rocket science.
It's not some process that you need to go through. It's utterly simple. It's very, very simple, and you keep it simple, and you keep your approach simple. And if you see it, hit it, and if you don't, just whatever, man, take your walk. It's not. Yeah, exactly. It's not rocket science. And I like the fact that Dan Wilson is doing the necessary delegating, but I also like his in-game approach as well too. Every button he's pushed seems to have worked.
Any feedback that you got for Dan Wilson?
Do you have any openings on your coaching staff?
No.
Well, I guess
no. I will say that.
I will say that just keep doing what you're doing, right? Don't overcorrect. Here's the best thing is don't overthink something. Go with your natural gut instinct. Like that's the thing, is sometimes Scott Service literally had a bad problem of overthinking something that he was probably right the first time around. You know what I mean?
Second guessing.
Yeah,
if he took a test, he got a C because he thought that was the right answer. Oh wait, no, it's this answer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do not give him a multiple choice test.
Absolutely right, and but
that also comes with being a veteran. Dan wasn't a backup like Scott, so Dan was actually involved in more games than not. No disrespect, Scott, but backup catcher. But that's the thing. It's like it comes with the territory. It comes with the experiences, and that's the thing. It's like Dan can just put himself into that mindset of being a player and understanding the situations when you see it. After all, it's like regardless of what era of baseball we're in, baseball is still baseball. You know what I mean? And Dan has that mentality of just not overthinking something. So keep doing what you're doing.
Yep. My feedback would be, I guess his lineups could be a little bit better. Maybe that's just being nitpicky, but I'm still not a fan of Dan Wilson putting Randy Arozarena as the cleanup guy, because he is not exactly the guy you want to trust as a cleanup. I would have maybe put him as a more of a 2 guy than a 4 guy.
At the end of the day, Randy Arozarena is here to do what, right? Hit home runs. That's what he's here to do. He's here to be what Randy Arozarena was in 2021, 2022. So if you're not going to hit Julio third and you're going to hit Julio second, then bat Randy Arozarena third and then have Cal Raleigh clean up. I don't like Cal Raleigh as a cleanup. As a matter of fact, I think Cal Raleigh should just be 6th in the lineup, or make Luke Raley a cleanup hitter or something like that. But that's the thing. It's like, Randy's here to do one thing, so let him do that. And, It is what it is, man. I just think that power hitters should be in power premium spots in the lineup. So if you're not going to hit Julio third, then that probably should go to Randy Arozarena.
Gotcha. Yeah, fair enough. And look what we got. We got Jay Trident Podcast. He is here. And Steve, Jay Trident Podcast. I think this is the first time you gentlemen have met together.
Jay,
how's it going, guys? Pleasure to meet you as well. Good to be here, guys. Appreciate you having me, at least for the first few innings. And a big chance side for the Mariners to get to 2.5 back.
Yeah.
Especially with Houston losing.
Kind of course correct here, right?
Exactly.
Dip themselves out of the hole that they put themselves in, and thankfully Houston's making it a little bit easier on us. So,
and I was gonna say,
no, go ahead.
No, you're good. I was gonna say, at least if they're 2 back or something going to that Houston series, at least it's there, right? Like at least you've got the chance to do it. Would they sweep Houston? Not going to predict that, but you got the shot. So
I heard that if they go 1 of 3 in that series, they could actually own the tiebreaker. But of course, you still want to go 2 of 3 or hopefully a sweep.
Well, I will say this, that over the course of the last year and a half, the Mariners have absolutely owned the Houston Astros in Seattle, in Houston. It doesn't matter where we play. It seems that we show up, and that's what I'm looking to see. Because one of the things, besides this season, one of the things that at least the Mariners always did against other playoff teams, division rivals, that they showed up and made it a series. So yeah, that's all I'm looking for. And also I'm looking for them to beat their brains in, but I'll take the first one step at a time, boys.
One step at a time. And Jay Trident, both of us talked about what we have liked about Dan Wilson so far. Now, granted, it's been just 4 games, 3-1. I'm still reserving my excitement, but he has nailed the first impression. But what have you liked about Dan the Man Wilson?
Yeah, I think it's just the overall picture. The team seems to be playing a little harder. They seem to be playing a little bit looser. I do think with Scott, it was just getting to a point where whether they like Scott or didn't like Scott, they were playing with that tenseness, kind of like they knew his job was on the line. And no one wants to be the guy that's responsible for someone getting fired. I think they're playing a little bit freer with Dan. I did notice that Dan shows a little bit more, like sticking with Colin Snyder on Sunday.
Yep.
Scott would have gone to Munoz in that situation there 100%. Now, whatever, I get going to Munoz there, but now Snyder has a little bit more confidence. So, it's not even so much like a move that I go, oh, that's better. But my issue with Scott is every 50-50 move he was making was not working. Whether it was analytically correct or, we thought it was correct, it just, the button was not being pushed. So far, Dan the Man has pushed the right buttons. Right. So, it's been encouraging to see.
I've always said that, I don't like managers lasting beyond the 5-year mark just because the messaging runs stale. And, that's the thing. Mitch Haniger's been around since 2017, 2018. So there's guys that have been around for quite a while and understand exactly what Scott was about, what his messaging was. And, that's the thing. It's I just felt like, for a rebuilding team, Scott Service is fine. You know what I mean? He's the type of guy that you can give young guys confidence and all that good stuff. But when there's pressure and when there's expectations, it's his ability to overthink something and make it. You said it perfectly, right? In any of those 50-50 decisions, he would go against his hunch and he would overthink something, and it always ended up not working. And that's the thing. I like the fact that Dan Wilson right now is kind of taking an old school approach with something. You were talking about the Colin Snyder approach a couple days ago. That's old school, and its approach, right? Because if there's any amount of pressure with a pitcher on the hill, you kind of want to see what that pitcher's made of. You're not gonna be quick with a hook. You want to see if he can work himself out of danger, right? That's one way. That's one way you can actually trust a reliever. And that's not something that you saw under Scott Service. There was any inkling of pressure, he was gonna have a quick hook because he was too afraid to lose a lead, or he was trying to protect a tie, and it ended up failing more oftentimes than not, and we ended up sacrificing the league. I look at this and I'm like, you know what? Every single button he's pushing right now just seems to be working, and it's giving this team confidence. And all of a sudden now we've won 3 of 4, and it feels like we're on the cusp of something big. You know what I mean? Like this team's about to go like 14 of 18.
We'll find out, but it's going to have to get through Jeffrey Springs, who is going to be a challenge because as of now, Mariners, or as of recent, or this entire year, Mariners are allergic to the 4.50 ERA and going up against Logan Gilbert, 7-10, 3.21 ERA. And Steve, before you head out, because there's 3 minutes until the game, keys to the game on how to win this game.
Beat up the pitcher, beat up the young pitcher with the 5 ERA that's standing right in front of you. Like enough of letting these young kids gain confidence early in the game, right? That's when you see these young kids that are being called up, and you look at some of their splits and some of their game logs. It looks like some of these kids are getting in trouble early. So don't let this guy get confidence early. Be aggressive early. And if you take your walks, but cash it in. And let's put a stop to like making no-name kids from AA look like Cy Young Award winners. Let's just take it to them early.
Jay Trident Podcast, keys to the game.
Yeah, I think it's a great point. Take your walks, and kind of like in that Giants series, they were getting their walks, but they couldn't get that big hit. Someone's got to come through, and when you get on base, put one in the gap to get those runners home. Yep. It's kind of been this team's bugaboo. They did better last night. I think Logan Gilbert having a bounce back outing would be huge. He's had a rough go of it in LA. Was okay in Pittsburgh, but it felt like a game where you should have gotten 7 shutout innings from him. So a big bounce back against a pretty poor lineup in Tampa. We know what that's like, but I think that's the key too. But I agree with what Steve said on the offensive side, 100%.
Yep. And I actually feel like this could be that type of situation where you do get 7 shutout innings from Logan. Like it feels like a Logan Gilbert start tonight. So
agreed.
Let's hope they do so, and hopefully the pressure of the fact that the Mariners are facing the fact that the Houston Astros lost, and I think that was off of, I think Verlander may have pitched. So if that was the case, then no pressure on the Mariners, right, to close it within 2.5, because who would have thought that we would have gotten to 2.5 so quickly?
I'll tell you what, though, this is 41-year-old Justin Verlander, not 25-year-old Cy Young Award-winning Justin Verlander. So, that's the thing. It's like, that velocity is kind of trended downward over the last 2 years. So, Verlander's there to get.
Yeah, for sure. And actually, I'm going to double check. It was Verlander, and because it was Nola who was actually the dominant pitcher.
Yep. Yeah, and at this point,
and looks like, last thoughts, I guess.
Oh, no, you're good. Go ahead. No, you're good. Go ahead.
All right. Well, that's going to be. Well, thanks, Steve. Thanks for coming in for the first few minutes of the show. And we are about to start off with some Mariners baseball, and let's hope that the Mariners get the win. And thank you very much, Steve.
Jay, it was a pleasure meeting you. Roof, take it easy, bud.
Let's do it. All right, and let's get that scoreboard set up. And I got something for you, just for being on my show.
Hey. Woohoo! The perks are coming on the rooftop stream.
Yep, use that promo code, and make sure you do use it. And also, I have to hold my end of the bargain for Flick of the Switch. I lost a bet to him on Friday. I said the Mariners were going to lose, and he said the Mariners would win.
Good call,
and if they did win, I cannot play commercials for this game for its entirety. I'll be lucky enough just to play that, or just to have that little banner thing. So Flick of the Switch, I hope you're happy.
Those are some rough batting averages in the Rays lineup. I know the Mariners offense has struggled, but boy, Tampa's offense has been equally as poor.
Very much so. And flick of the switch, I'm not going to do the Mariners commercials because I'm not going to get hit with copyright. And I don't want to take the time to dispute all of them or whatever it is or delete all of them. As we are getting to the first pitch, and here it is by Logan Gilbert. And that is a strike. And that first pitch was brought to you by SeatGeek under JS Trident. Use this promo code JS Trident for $20 off if you're planning to go to a game tomorrow or if you're trying to avoid the scalpers right now. And now here's the 0-1. And that is a ball. And this is Yandy Diaz, by the way. And interestingly, there was hopefully talks of the Mariners trying to get Yandy Diaz at that trade deadline. We all thought it was going to happen, but I guess they just didn't do it. I guess they trusted in Justin Turner and Luke Raley at first. Now the pitch. And that is going to be missing for a ball as we saw Logan Gilbert topping out to a 98-mile-an-hour fastball. 273 this season. Yesterday. He wasn't. Interesting. Yeah. Now here is the 2-1. And that is going to be a ground ball right to first base, Justin Turner. He says he's got it. And that is going to be 1 out for the Rays. And we're going to batter number 2, and we'll see who that is. That's going to be, Caminero. I can't even say his name.
Junior Caminero. I think it's Junior Caminero.
Junior Caminero. And also, we'll be looking forward to seeing Jose Caballero, who was basically, well, Leo Rivas is basically Jose Caballero of this year. And now here is the junior man and the pitch. And that is low for a ball. That is going to be 1-0 the count for the junior. This season, 283, 2 home runs, and 4 RBIs. Chevy Camaro, very well thought. Flick of the switch. And now the 1-0 pitch. And that is popped up and fouled. Camaro made his season debut on August 13th against the Astros. He's a third base prospect. He's hit 2 home runs in the last 4 games, so watch out for this guy. And now here is the 1-1 pitch by Logan. And that is a swing and a miss. And and Cal Raleigh is looking shaken up. Hopefully just got the wind knocked out of him. But that's going to be strike 2.
Cal gets beat up so often, man. Like the offseason's going to be good to Cal.
Oh, yeah. And it'll be much better if the Mariners don't make the playoffs, but that's what we don't want.
Right.
But Cal Raleigh's been taking a beating. 2022 was most notable because he basically played with no backup catcher unless his name was Kirk Casale, and then Luis Torren stopped playing, not being a catcher anymore. And while we're waiting for everything to go, it looks like Cal Raleigh's okay. Abraham Toro just got DFA'd by the Oakland A's.
Yeah, I saw that.
Would you take a chance on him? Because he does have the clutch bat in the 9th inning, at least what he did with the Mariners.
There's just nowhere to put him on the roster. I mean, you kind of already have with JP coming back here soon. You already have a little bit of an infield crunch with Rivas, Moore, and I don't think Toro gives you anything that those guys don't. I'm not trying to say that the Mariners infield is amazing, but I don't think he offers anything that those guys can't give you.
I mean, there's not even room for Cole Young right now because if JP is up and then Leo Rivas is still hitting it. Yeah. But I think the easy decision is to send down Dom Canzone. Like, they've tried. They tried to make it work. They really wanted to make that Paul Sewald trade completely worth it, but it just has not worked.
You could wait until September 1st and just bring JP up. You don't even have to make a move. I don't know if they want to wait that long, but.
And now the 1-2 pitch. And that is fouled. And Junior Caminero is fighting that count, fighting that pitch. And the relieving thing about Dan Wilson taking over is I don't have to worry about pitch counts as much. Like, I was looking at that pitch count like as if I was refreshing everything on my screen. And now here's the 1-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3, and that's going to be 2 down.
There we go. Good start.
Good start to Logan Gilbert. He's got a strikeout already in this first inning. That was a nice little, I think that was a splitter, but that was a really nice one.
Mm-hmm. Was. Need Logan dialed in today. Due for a Logan, that was a split. That's nasty.
It was very nasty. Now here is Josh Lowe, one of their top hitters on the team. And here's the pitch. And a swing and a miss, strike one. And that was a blazing 98-mile-an-hour fastball by Logan Gilbert. So he looks like he really wants to be on top of his game. Not saying that he wouldn't be, but... And now we're looking at the 0-1 to Josh Lowe. And that is popped up and foul. And that was a good placement, too. That was on the inside. And usually that's where the weak spot is on the inside on any hitter. He's batting .234 this season, batted .292. So Rays have taken a notable decline from last season. And now the pitch. And a swing and a miss, strike three. And that is going to retire the side. We go to the bottom of the first. It is no score. Mariners are coming up. Logan Gilbert with 2 strikeouts already.
Great start for Logan. Crazy. I just saw Josh Lowe the Rays only had 2 hits yesterday. Josh Lowe had them both. So no hitter on everybody yesterday not named Josh Lowe for the Mariners. I didn't even realize that. Not super crazy, but just funny.
Oh, wow. They practically did pitch a no-hitter. I didn't even realize that.
I didn't realize it either. I knew they held him, down, but I didn't realize Lowe had both hits. So take out Josh Lowe, and we had a combined no-no yesterday. Not that that's how it works, but
no, actually, if there's no errors, that could have been that could have been a perfect game.
Did they not walk anybody?
No walks and no errors.
Oh.
They were that close. That's why they were saying how good Bryce Miller really was.
Yeah.
So maybe if without Josh Lowe, Dan Wilson would have let him go all the way.
Yeah. Josh Lowe just had to ruin the party, didn't he?
With that home run. And
that was a relief.
Now it's all about trying to get that offense going for the Mariners, which is absolutely needed, especially in a game like this where Houston did lose. They did lose. Another what?
Oh, I'll say another thing to keep an eye on. Minnesota's down 4-0 today. If the Mariners win, now it's a little tough with Minnesota because you got to pass Boston and you don't have the tiebreaker with the Twins, but they would be 4.5 back in the wild card race. Something to keep an eye on, because Houston gets hot. Maybe Minnesota collapses. Nice to have both options available. So you are making up a little ground. If they win today, they'd be 4.5. So just another thing to keep an eye on for this team right now.
I mean, they've already made up a significant amount of ground ever since the change that had to be made. And I remember when I covered that game on Thursday, I remember you and I texted when I said, I'm just going to nap. And then I wake up, oh crap, they're down like 8-1. And then I finally said, okay, screw it. I'm just going to come on so people can just vent however they want. You know what? I think that was healthy for everyone. People got to do it on YouTube rather than go on Twitter X and then get into fights with everyone.
The Scott Service Swan Song. You did it. You gave him a farewell salute there. His last game. You called it.
I did. And it's only fitting I did, as we got a pop up by Victor Robles, and that should be Diaz making the catch. And that is going to be 1 out already on the very first swing. And that was Yandy Diaz. Interesting that they put him as a leadoff guy.
Yeah, I don't see a lot of first base.
But yeah, it was very unexpected that I was going to have a lot of engagement. I was like, there's no way people are going to come on. But then I had that twisted thinking of like, oh, wait, maybe people are so mad they want to just smash their keyboards on something. Yep. And now here's Julio. And that is inside for a ball. And we're looking at the 1-0.
Due to go deep. Julio's due for a
big
fly.
He has to. He hasn't gone deep since July against the Astros. And now the pitch. And that is a strike. Julio's got to go deep. It's the way he's been hitting. It's even more shocking that he's even hanging at 250.
Right. A lot of singles.
But he's been getting the little hits.
Yeah.
He's been hitless in 5 of his last 6 games. Ooh, that's really got to change. And now here's the 1-1 and a swing and a miss. And that really did feel like a meatball pitch. I didn't blame him from going for it, but he just cannot connect. 29 multi-hit games this season, leads the team. And Julio, you got to back up the fact your little spring training talk, which was cute, but you haven't backed up the 1-2. And why would you even why? Like I can't even rationale that. Like it was a strikeout. Like
I saw
it was obviously low.
I saw some stat. I don't know what it was exactly. That Julio is chased more than Javi Baez this year. If you're in any offensive category with Javi Baez, that's bad. I don't care what, unless it's
bad. Cal Raleigh. And that is going to be a fly ball to not so deep. And I think Caballero is there. That's the right fielder. He is there. He makes the catch. And unfortunately, a 1-2-3 inning, and it didn't even take 10 pitches as we get to top of the second. No score.
I will say Springs is someone that, like, I'm not super worried about the pitch. You know, some guys you face them, trying to think of someone that you face that you're just like, you know, you face a Corbin Burns or, you know, of course, as I do this, I always forget the aces, but you face guys like that. You want to get their pitch count up, drive them out of there. With some of these guys, like, I don't so much care because I don't think Springs is amazing. So I'm not too worried about the pitch count, but definitely a disappointing first inning for the Bats.
It really wasn't. It happened in just basically a blink of an eye. And Caden Cooper says, did you show Shaw, or did you show Dylan Cruz play today and played his best versus Cole? Are we talking about Garrett Cole?
Yeah, I think he homered off Garrett Cole, if I'm not mistaken.
And I wonder who the Yankees played then.
The Nationals.
Yankees played the National. Yep, that is correct. And Patrick Corbin shut down the Yankees pretty well for their 6 innings.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know what it really amounts to anything, but it sounds like the Yankees may have that division. Let's take a look and see. That's also open game between the Yankees and the Orioles.
You know,
It's
the
been a very
AL's
parity-filled season.
Yeah, the AL's all of a sudden more open. Again, I'm not trying to get on some now like, oh, the Mariners have a shot to win this. They wouldn't even be in if it began today, but Baltimore's looked very human the second half. The Yankees lineup is so top heavy with Soto and Judge that if you can navigate those guys, you can shut them down. Cleveland's tailed off a little bit. You know, Houston's playing good ball, but they've got flaws this year, certainly more so than they have in the past. It is open. You know, I'm not, again, claiming that the Mariners would be the favorites or anything like that, but it's there.
I mean, on paper, like, despite how low the morale was, on paper, the Mariners were still, they were still in the favorable situation, even on paper, the pitch.
Mm-hmm.
And that is going to miss it for a ball, as in the schedule was favorable. Houston has a tough schedule, but at the time I didn't think it was going to matter because of just the way they've been playing. And now here's Christopher Morel and the pitch. And that's a foul back. And interestingly, we did do a Tampa Bay Rays game together last year. I remember when you asked me at the last second to show up, and that was when that was like Mike Ford day. I think JP hit a home run and Jared Kelnick broke the tie, and then some spammer on our show just he was like saying a bunch of F-bombs and politics. I was like, bro, come on. And the pitch,
we gave him a chance.
We gave him chances. Like, okay, it's cool and cute. And then it was like this big.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, you're done. I can't do this. And now we're looking at the 2-1 for Christopher. The pitch. And now here's a line drive. And actually, that's a playable play. Here's Polanco. And he gets him out. You were saying?
Oh, the stuff with, that did look like it was going to be a hit. I agree with that. Off the bat, that looked like for sure it was going into right field. But yeah, the thing for me, I don't mind people, being negative and stuff. It's just when you spam comments and people just, I do a stream with the same comment 100 times, just annoying because it distracts me. So it's like, that's when I'll block or hide users. It's not so much anything that I'll, ever do if you disagree normally, but I can't see it 100 times. It's like, it can't go.
As Caballero takes it for a strike. And Caballero was that grinder last year, but he's turned into Luke Raley. And I think, I'll take Luke Raley in the 0-1. And now here's a fly ball foul. But Caballero's, he's basically been doing around the same thing as he did with the Mariners last year. So, and if you have Leo Rivas in your back pocket, then it was still worth the trade. I still thought it was worth the trade day one.
Agreed.
And now here's the 0-2 and ground ball foul. And luckily Caballero did swing at that. And Caden Cooper, you are correct. This is probably the most competitive American League ever that I've ever seen in my 24 years of watching baseball. And we're looking at the 0-2 for Caballero. And here's the pitch. And a swing and a miss, strike 3, and Logan Gilbert just seems to be on top of his game. That is another strikeout, and there is 2 outs already in just 21 pitches. How efficient could that be?
Logan pretty dialed in here so far.
He very much is. What a swing. And now we're looking at 2 outs so far. Last homestand, Logan Gilbert did dominate last time, and hopefully he can do it again. And that's a swing and a miss, and that is to Taylor Walls for strike 1. Taylor Walls is a 166 hitter, so woo! Look at that batting average. You were not joking, but it's still baseball, so things can still happen.
And the Rays are pesky. They were always a pesky team.
Always are, especially. Things I don't want to hear is, well, it's just one game. There is tomorrow. There is no tomorrow in this situation. Everything counts.
Yeah.
The 0-2.
Yeah.
And that is low for a ball. Like, in order for them to make the playoffs or to even have a sniff at it, unless everyone else falls apart, Mariners have to basically pull another 95 run.
I mean, listen, they're going to lose again, but yeah, I mean, the point is that like you got to at least win a bunch of series. You're going to have to get some sweeps in here eventually. Like you said, you're kind of out of time to be picky about games. You've got to, pedal to the metal here. And what do you have? 31 left. You probably got to win 20 of them.
Got to, as we got a strike 3 call, and Logan Gilbert with 2 more strikeouts. He's got 4 strikeouts in this game. We go to the bottom of the second and no score. And Logan Gilbert is absolutely on fire.
I was a little worried there with the ump, a little delayed. I hate delayed strike 3 calls from umps. Like on that one, because I have it on mute right now because we're, doing the stream. And I'm like, that's paint. You're gonna ring them up there, Blue?
Yeah. I had that happen to me in softball in my championship game in 2019. It was a full count. I think the bases were loaded, 2 outs, and we could have gotten out of the inning because it was still a close game. I made a nice, beautiful pitch. Like, you could not call that a ball. The umpire froze for 3 extra seconds. I was like, wait, what's going on? He's like, nope, that's a ball. And literally half of my teammates were screaming. And I still remember my teammate after that inning, after he gave up 10 runs, she tried to argue with the umpire. And as much as I disagreed with his call, I was like, no. Go back to the dugout. Do not argue because I cannot afford to have you ejected.
Right.
I don't even know if they eject, but hey, umpires have the power to do that, and even in recreational level.
Mm-hmm. I think if you're going out there cussing at them and stuff, then yeah, especially in those leagues. I had a coach in a Pee Wee football league get thrown out of a game. It happens. So they, like you said, they have the right to do it still.
They should, if there's any kind of hostility or whatever, or whoever's doing a Lou Piniella thing and
kicking throwing
one
the
time.
base.
Now speak of Lou Piniella throwing the bases. I remember when I was working in childcare in summer of 19, there was this kid that threw something, and then my counselor was like, "Hey, Mr. Joe, that kid over there, he just did a Lou Piniella." He literally said Lou Piniella. I just started laughing, and I was like, "Okay, please don't throw things."
Sweet Lou.
And now here's Randy Arozarena. And that is a ball. And I was emphasizing how much I don't want him to be a cleanup hitter. And I know Steve pleaded his case. That's his opinion. All cool with it. I mean, everyone should have different opinions, but his runners in scoring position numbers are something to be concerned about. And 2-0.
It's tough. It's tough. The lineup's just so kind of meager that it's for me, it's just hard to have the debates because it's just really nobody consistent right now. But I get it. I get both sides of it. It's like, ugh.
But Randy Arozarena, good news, is taking a 3-0. And that's something that we have noticed. And I know that it's super early, but you're not seeing as much chasing. Like when it was Scott, they would chase at will. And here's the 3-0. And Randy Arozarena really thought that was a strike. I was like, nope, he ain't going to give you that. And we are looking at the next pitch. It's going to be a 3-1. Got Dan Wilson and Edgar Martinez. That's a beautiful sight to see. 3-1. And strike 2. And Randy Arozarena really just wants to walk. Now he's doing the complete opposite. He went from completely swinging like a maniac to not swinging at all. Now he's just meditating at this point. But now he's down to a 3-2 to Springs. And now the 3-2 pitch. And he reached for it. That he didn't have to swing at that. But I mean, what do I know? I'm not a baseball player, and that's going to be one out. You know what they say? Easier said than done.
That's a good pitch. Change up low. You know, that's probably where he wants that pitch. Maybe he wants it a little bit more in the zone. You know, probably that 3-1 pitch was more hittable to take a crack at, but you get 2 strikes. It's hard. You got to protect on those a little bit. So certainly not a good result. Good pitch. Hopefully, who's up now? Polanco can do something.
Jorge Polanco, Mr. Second Half of the Mariners, who has picked it up in the second half, and he did hit a home run yesterday, and here is the pitch, and that is a fouled back. You thought for a split second that was going to be a nice liner towards the middle, but nope, I guess not. Former Twins, by the way, career versus Springs 0 for 2, which is why I don't even look at that 4.50 ERA, which is also why I added them on my fantasy team. The pitch. And a swing and a miss, strike 1 or strike 2. Polanco's been batting .261 with a .352 OBP, 8 home runs and 19 RBI. So he has quite improved, and it's pretty noticeable. And now the 0-2 pitch. And wow, swing and a miss, strike 3. Nice swing, Polanco. At least he did it in style.
This team just cannot hit changeups. Even yesterday with what was Pepio, you know, they got I don't want to say they got lucky, but they got a couple fastballs they drove out. This team is just allergic to changeups. I mean, you'd think they'd never seen one before.
At one point, they were allergic to a fastball right down the middle, and then at best, they maybe got a foul ball.
They're kind of allergic to pitching a little bit as a whole.
I think they're just allergic to hitting. And now the pitch to Turner. And that is in there for a strike. As he takes an 0-1, and Justin Turner, ever since he got traded to the Mariners, he really hasn't contributed much, unfortunately. And now the pitch. And that is a foul ball. Oh, what do you know? I do have Springs. He's already given me 2 strikeouts. That's my fantasy strategy. At least one of my, in the league that you'll be joining next year, at least one of the other players, he has implemented my strategy, and he brags about it. It's like, hey, I just took him from you. The pitch up high for a ball. And by the way, he is a big fan of your show.
Oh, awesome, Tom. I appreciate it.
He really does. I think I tell him that all the time. And he says that you are the favorite. He favors you over me, and he's my best friend. And the pitch. And now here's a fly ball, foul ball. It's just like the Barry Sanders' father treatment to Barry Sanders. He always kept saying Jim Brown was the best because he wanted to keep pushing his son to be better.
There you go. There you go.
And now Justin Turner's looking at a 1-2. And now here is the pitch. Low for a ball. Emmanuel asks, what do you think of Leo Rivas? Can it be sustainable? I don't know, but he certainly has made it more difficult for me to want Cole Young to be called up because of the hot hand of Rivas. So as long as he can sustain, which I don't think it'll happen, but you never know. Good eye by Justin Turner, 3-2. I mean, he's streaking right now, but the thing is, it could end at any time. Just like Jose Caballero, he had a great start, and then he just disappeared going into September. So that's what I fear.
Yeah, nice little player. I don't know if he's ever going to be a full-time guy, but he's provided a little spark. I think he's kind of a gamer, gritty player. I like him. I like him. He's been good. He's
basically in that Sam Haggerty role, which at this point, we could use him over Sam Haggerty because unfortunately Sam Haggerty's been banged up, and that happened, and it's been happening since 2022 when he tried to steal the base against the Tigers, and now get the 3-2. Up high for ball 4, and the Mariners finally get a man on base, and that's going to be the beloved Mitch Haniger, who, I hate to say it, he's been playing this entire season like 2009 Ken Griffey Jr., unfortunately. Actually, even worse than him. Ugh. Look at his numbers. 164, 287.
A little more pop. Haniger, I don't know who's had more WAR, because Haniger at one point was like -1. I don't know what Griffey ended up in 2009. Griffey didn't play much outfield, so he probably ended up better because he didn't hurt them in the field. I'm curious, actually.
With the exception of some interleague games where they put him on the field, and he actually held up okay.
Oh, do you mean 2009 or 2010 Griffey? Sorry.
2009.
Oh, 2009
and a
Griffey
swing
was
and a
actually
miss.
09
he was a
Griffey wasn't too
0.8.
bad.
He was a 0.6 wins above replacement. Mitch Haniger is a negative 0.02. So Mitch Haniger is actually competing for the Ken Griffey Jr. spot of 2010.
I was going to say probably closer to 2010. Mitch has gotten better, though, because he was at -1 for a while. So the bat has been better last month. Not great but for this team.
And that's going to be a ball that is a 1-2 count on Mitch Haniger. He's at least gotten some walk-offs, and I got to witness both of them on this show. And we're looking at the 1-2. 60 career home runs at T-Mobile. They're really trying to tease something, aren't they? The 1-2. And now here's a liner and fouled. I remember on Griffey's last at-bat, they were down 1. And then they were showing that little ticker going, Ken Griffey Jr., in this situation, he has this X amount of home runs. And they were really trying to hype it up. And everyone's like, no, he's gone. It's not going to happen. He did get on base, but it was a fielder's choice. Now we're looking at the 1-2. And now the pitch. And that is up high for a ball, 2-2. Oh, I was looking at the wrong. Oops, that was Mitch Garver's numbers. My bad. That was Mitch Garver. Okay, now let's find out Mitch Haniger's numbers.
Wrong Mitch. I was going to say he's
batting 209. And now the pitch. And that is popped up and fouled. Now I can find what his WAR is this season. He's at a 0.
Not slacking off, not showing off either.
So he's okay. So he's maybe more of the 2009 Ken Griffey Jr.
Literally replacement level.
At 2-2 so far. Remember when we said that he was an upgrade over Teoscar, and then he bobbled it, and it went down from there.
Yeah, first game I was like, yeah.
2-2. Oh, that was outside. That should have been a strike in my opinion, but that's going to be a 3-2 because usually umpires have the tendency to call that a strike because I don't know. But 30 pitches for Springs. Mariners are putting up the pitch count on Springs, which is good. And now the 3-2 and a swing and a miss. And I was telling you, they cannot hit a fastball right up the middle. Better yet, they can't even hit a pitch.
Yeah, that's 90 right down the middle. I know with Springs has a really good changeup, so that fastball looks a little faster, but man, Mitch has got to do something with that pitch.
That's when you feel like that was like a typical 2010 Ken Griffey Jr. at bat. And then Emmanuel says, will it be a disappointment if the hot hand Rivas gets sent back to Tacoma and Crawford comes in and struggles? Yeah, I could see that happening.
I think it'll be Canzone. Honestly, it wouldn't shock me if they just wait till September 1st because they can just bring JP up and not have to make a move. And September 1st is Saturday. So I wouldn't be shocked if they just don't activate JP. Although that's 4 games without playing. So we'll see. But yeah,
we actually talked about this going with DFA Toro. Probably not unless JP, his injury return is like heavily delayed, then maybe. Or if someone else got hurt, then maybe, but then they'll be more tempted to call up. I would think that they would like to call up Cole Young.
Yeah, I just don't see. I wouldn't be against it if they just already have Abe Toros. You know, you've already got, and again, it's not a great infield right now, but Toro just doesn't bring anything that you don't already have, in my opinion, a little bit. So if Toro was an outfielder, I know he's played a little bit out there, but no, I don't think they kick the tires on that.
He does have once in a while the occasional clutch 9th inning bat. Occasionally. He did win some for the A's.
Yeah. Just tough to get guys in that spot. You know what I mean? Like, it'd be great
if Crawford was out for the season, then it would have been at least a conversation. Maybe they would have texted them or called them by now.
Yeah, I think if JP was out for the year, you'd think about it. Just a little depth piece to have, but you know, with Rivas playing well enough, I don't think so.
And it's been quite shocking that he's been playing this well. And here's the pitch by Logan. Remember when he got called up, he thought it was like some throwaway prospect that you would put in a throwaway trade. And this is Johnny DeLuca. And this is a 1-0, 188 with 4 home runs. Probably one of the younger players. The pitch, and that is in there for a strike. The last 7 games, he has turned it up. 280, 7 for 25 recently.
Good.
And I got to look up how DeLuca has been, or how old he is. He's 26, so he's not exactly a young gun. The 1-1, and that is popped up, and that should be playable, and it will be. And here is Justin Turner, and he makes the catch. And we've got 1 down already. 28 pitches for Gilbert. He's been very efficient today. Lowest ERA at home this season. The Mariners are absolutely lights out, which is why you want to see them win the division so they can have the home field advantage, because you want to see pitchers like Logan Gilbert, George Kirby, maybe Brian Wu. Maybe Brian Wu can take over Luis Castillo's spot, and I think he should. And the pitch, he could. I mean, you could even make the case that he's actually been the best pitcher in the Mariners rotation, and nobody would have foreseen that, especially when I fell asleep on his major league debut, because that game was torture to watch. And we're looking at the 0-1 to Jose Siri, and now the pitch. Check swing, did he go? He did not. Career versus Logan Gilbert, he is 0 for 3. In career at T-Mobile Park, 0.091 batting average. Hopefully that can...
death right there.
Kiss of death. 1-1.
Most obvious home run ever.
He did hit a home run in T-Mobile. I remember it was last year, and I also covered that, and that was when Mariners had a 4-0 lead, and then the Rays went on that torturous, like 8-run rally or something.
Yeah, it was like 15-4 final.
Yeah, it was awful. And then it got to the point we were just laughing and making jokes for the rest of the game. And we're looking at the 2-2. Logan Gilbert's been on his game so far. Hopefully he can keep it up. Jose Siri trying to get out of his slump in T-Mobile as Jose Siri calls for time. Brian Wu's secondary pitches have a big leap and still lots of room to grow. Agreed. Everyone has room to grow, especially on this team, especially the bats, especially Julio. And now we're looking at the 2-2 pitch, and that is popped up and fouled. And maybe playable. It will not be playable. Especially even without those nets, maybe he would have had a chance to catch it, but he probably would have had to jump over it. As we're looking at a 2-2 by Logan Gilbert. And Riley makes a good point that Brian Wu, I guess, throws 70% fastball still. Bryce Miller should get Luis Castillo's spot in the bullpen. I think I put the edge on Brian Wu, but Bryce Miller is also just as much as a good choice. The 2-2. And Cal Raleigh's really has tried to sold those two on the umpire, but the umpire's not having any of it. As we are looking at the 3-2. Jose Siri strikes out 37%. Pretty high alarming rate. And now the 3-2. And now here's a fly ball, and Rosarena didn't even have to catch it, or they didn't have to move it. But yeah,
he did have to catch it.
Siri but 37%, that sounds like a typical Mariners hitter.
The Rays lineup's really similar to the Mariners. And I actually think the Mariners is a little bit, I don't know. I don't know what they're like, where they're at in WRC.
Depends on the upside of those players too.
Yeah.
Because you haven't really heard of any of them. And Alex Jackson's up to the plate. And I wonder if this is the Alex Jackson I'm thinking of.
Yeah, I think it is. I'm almost positive it is.
I think it is. And now here's the pitch. And that is a strike. Let me double check this. I really should check this. And see if this is the Alex Jackson I'm thinking of.
What trade was he in? Was it Malik Smith or something? What trade? I forgot.
It looks like it was.
Yeah.
And he was with the Mariners. It was that 2014 rookie season, the 0-1. And he took forever to get into Major League Baseball. He was actually bounced into 2017 for Atlanta. And then Atlanta traded into Miami, then to Milwaukee, and then now to Tampa. So he's had quite the journey. We'll find out in a moment.
Yeah.
The pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 2. Alex Jackson was traded with a player to be named later for max Pobsay and Rob Whalen. So this was basically a trade that amounted to nothing, unfortunately. It was basically a throwaway trade.
Yeah, I think Whalen pitched like a couple innings for us one year, if I remember, but nothing.
2017 was a blur, the 1-2. And now here's a fly ball to left field, and Rosareno makes the catch. And a nice diving effort. Not that he dove or anything, but he still makes the catch. And that is going to retire the side. Mariners will go into the bottom of the third, still nothing. And Christian, the Chicago man, how's it doing? How do you feel about the Caleb Williams and your Chicago Cubs and not White Sox?
I think the Bears are going to be pretty decent this year. Actually, they've got a lot of their wide receiver room is loaded with DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Roma Dunze, Cole Kmet. Their offensive line is got a lot of young guys developing. Caleb Williams, good defensive.
How do you feel about our Seahawks?
I'm excited. I think they're going to be much, much better defensively. I'm a big Pete Carroll guy, but I think Mike McDonald's going to have this crew. I think they're going to be a top 15 defense. And if the offense can just be a little more consistent, because the offense had flashes
close games.
Close games too, but I think the defense will help that. The better defense, because there was a lot of games where the offense had to come back again because the defense would keep giving up points. So I think the defense is going to be a little more solid. I think they're going to stuff the run a little bit better. The schedule's tough for the Seahawks. I could see 8-9 wins just because if you look at the schedule after the first couple of weeks, it's pretty brutal. I mean, you've got the NFC West with the Rams, Niners. I think the Cardinals are going to be better. You got Green Bay in there.
Kyler Murray's back.
Yeah, you got Miami, Buffalo. Shane Waldron. I actually don't think Waldron, Christian, is as bad as some people thought he was. I will say this. This has always been my take on it, because last year I said that Clint Hurt was an atrocity as a DC. Waldron got a job right away. There's a reason for that. People around the league think he is a capable OC. I did think Waldron had trouble, and Rooftop can maybe attest to this too, adjusting. His game plans were good. You'd watch the Seahawks' first couple drives, and they were solid. I thought he had trouble adapting during games a little bit. And then would kind of find it at the end again. I think there's good things with Waldron. I do. I'm not a big fan. I'm not going to stand on a podium for him, but I do think he can be a solid offensive coordinator in the league.
I actually still would have taken him over Darrell Bevel.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Bevel had a lot of issues too, for sure.
The pitch, and that's a foul ball. I mean, he is vilified for his play call in Super Bowl 49. And I mean, you can blame that on Darrell Bevel, but you could also blame it on Pete Carroll for not vetoing it, and you can also blame Wilson for not audibling out of it. So I think everyone's all at fault. The 0-1. And also throwing it to Ricardo Lockett out of all people. If it was like the Doug Baldwin, I would have actually accepted it.
Well, and I'll blame Ricardo Lockett a little bit too on that play. He could have fought, I thought, a little bit harder to at least at the end kind of break up the pass. So there's blame all around on that play.
Yeah, it really was, which is why, I mean, that's how great that Super Bowl was. Unfortunately for the audience perspective, it was a great Super Bowl, but for us, it's the worst thing we ever saw. So bad that we forgot about Super Bowl 40.
I know, right?
It was so bad that I forgave Bill Levy. And now the 2-2. No. And that is a 3-2. And I actually do have a video presenting my case on how the Seahawks could have still won that game, even with the bad calls.
They had chances.
Josh Brown missed 3 field goals. Jeremy Stevens dropped how many passes? And the 3-2. And that's a foul ball. Like, there was one where he literally caught it and he was running and they just whoopsie dropped it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no doubt the Seahawks were incredibly sloppy that game, regardless of the refereeing. It was certainly not their best game. And Pittsburgh's defense deserves credit too. That was a great unit.
Oh, they were extremely good. Yeah. And now the 3-2 pitch to Dylan Moore and ball 4, take your base. And going back to that Super Bowl, the other thing I also noticed before the controversial Ben Roethlisberger touchdown where he kind of like played like cat and mouse with the ball, although he like kind of broke the plane. Before that, Hines Ward burned Marcus Trufant or whoever that secondary was on a 3rd and 28. No one talks about that.
Yeah, there was definitely. It's one of those games where it was both, right? Were the refs bad? Yeah, they were atrocious. But the Seahawks
were equally bad.
They had plenty of mistakes. It's easier to talk about it now, 20 years later. At the time, I was like, nope, refs.
It was all refs. And then I watched the game 6 years later. I was like, oh, wait, we kind of played like garbage.
Yeah, I went back and watched it like during the pandemic. I actually went back and watched it. I'm like, yeah, the Seahawks didn't play great ball. I mean, it is what it is.
Oh, hey, it's the referral. Sid Rocks. He was your fan, and you were basically, you were the referral.
That's right. How's it going, Sid?
And we're looking at the 1-1 Leo Rivas multi-hit game in 4 of his last 8 games.
Wow.
He's actually been one of the better players. A pitch and popped up and fouled. Has a 279 average, a 343 OBP, a near 700 OPS for his level. That's actually pretty good. And 41 pitches for spring so far. Defense has been good. His arm could be better, but I mean, we'll take what we could get. I mean, he's been able to fill in admirably for the injury of J.P. Crawford, although J.P. Crawford hasn't really done much this season either.
Right.
Now the 1-2. Oh, throw back to first, not in time. And let's not forget Dylan Moore. I think he was the MVP. Other than Brian Wu, I think he was the MVP of that game, the series finale against the Giants.
I thought you were going to say MVP of the season. I was like, I don't know about that. The game, you're right. I agree.
It's hard to say who would be. I mean, the MVP of this season is going to be anyone in the starting rotation. The 1-2. The string and a miss. Go to the second. And he's out. Not this time. The umpire saying, nope, not this time. You like the effort. You like the aggressiveness. Maybe Scott Service wouldn't have called for that to happen. Dan Wilson rolled the dice and it just didn't work out. And it was a strike him out, throw him out double play to make it matters worse.
Brutal. Yeah, brutal.
And yep, that was out by a mile.
Let's see. I'm looking at the replay now.
Maybe if Dylan, or maybe that could. No, they're not going to review it. Yeah, the pitch. And that is up high for a ball. What are you guys doing over Labor Day weekend? Probably going to be with our families. I mean, I'm not going to be able to do Labor Day weekend game. The Monday, probably not. I'd rather just chow on a burger and barbecue, the 1-0. And now here's a fly ball to deep left field, and that is caught by the low. And we go to the top of the 4th inning. No, I'm not going to blame the marine layer thing, whatever the marine layer theory. Because 2000...
say too, if we want to talk about that, then fine, marine layer, then the pitching's not going to be as good either. So give it, then it take it the way, people. You got to remember that too. Like, it's the hitters just got to hit.
and you don't always have to hit home runs either. Like Safeco Field is designed for small balling anyway. But
the gaps.
We've seen people adapt. 2000 Edgar Martinez loved Safeco. Actually, he loved Safeco anyway. A-Rod adapted in 2000. He had his best season in terms of wins above replacement out of all of his career. Brett Boone broke out into a superstar out of nowhere. Nelson Cruz, Robinson Cano, yeah, steroids, whatever. But I mean, come on, everyone. The steroid year that nobody wants to talk about? COVID pandemic 2020 season was very steroid heavy. You look at those numbers and they were just weird.
Yeah, there was definitely
some of them were hitting some hit 16 home runs in like 50 games, which you're not even supposed to do that.
I think for your point too, I think Cano is a better example than Cruz, to be honest. Listen, Nelson Cruz just has so much power. There's nobody in this Mariners lineup that can have that power. So he's going to hit it out of everywhere. But Cano's power, I mean, he has pop, but he was more of a line drive gap guy. Those are the type of guys that can succeed in Safeco T-Mobile. You need to put the ball in the gap or play some small ball, like you said. It can work for offense. There's no reason that, I understand it may not be the best park for offense, but you can still
play around it.
Yeah.
Heck, and plus,
last year wasn't that bad, honestly.
And if Marine Layer was so great, then the Mariners would have the best starting rotation in the Bavasi years when they had some of the worst starting rotations in history.
And last year, the Mariners offense was 9th in WRC plus. So it's not impossible. It's just that they've been bad. I mean, there's no There's
just
nothing
they're not
around it.
they're not hitting it. Like it's not like when you're going up to the plate, it's not like things are looking bigger at T-Mobile Park. It's not like they're having a vision like that.
Yep.
And here's Yandy Diaz in the pitch, and that is low for a ball. 1-1. And by the way, this game has been really breezing along so quickly that if you blink an eye, it's the 4th inning. Yandy Diaz looking at it. Now here's the pitch. And that is low for a ball. We are looking at a 2-1 count for Yandy Diaz. 42 pitches for Gilbert so far. Been very efficient today. They did get some contact in the last inning, but the defense was there for him. 2-1. And that is fly ball, more like a pop-up. And Robles is there. And he makes a catch. Good communication by them. That's the most important thing when the ball's in the air. Always got to talk. All the more reasons to sign arguably this generation's best hitter this winter, Soto. Unfortunately, I just don't see it happening. Unless if Jack Z was a GM, there actually would be a chance.
Yeah, I don't see them. I mean, I'm with you. Soto's the type of guy, like, you know, you look, and that's actually a good point that Riley made. Like, you either got to play gap to gap, or you've got to get those generational hitters in here. That was kind of my point. Nelson Cruz is that, you know, that power can hit anywhere. You could put him, you know, in a park that's got 800-foot fences and he'll find it. Soto's kind of the same way. Like, it doesn't matter. He will hit in T-Mobile. So either got to adjust your philosophy or get some guys.
Get some guys that can hit. Like Julio, like with his 5-tool talent, he shouldn't have to rely on just home runs. Like,
exactly.
I play softball. You never rely on the fly ball. You always try to hit it on the ground. Because when it's in the air, it's in the air too long.
We'll see if maybe that's something in the offseason Dan works with.
Swing and a miss, strike 3, throw to first in time. 2 outs already in this inning. This has been a really breezing along game, and that's going to be strikeout number 5 for Logan Gilbert. That was a nice pitch. He somehow got them to chase. That definitely had a breaking stuff to it. And now here is Josh Lowe up to the plate. And now the pitch. And that is a strike. As we're looking at the 0-1 count on Josh Lowe. He is 0 for 1 with a strikeout in the first. And now here is the pitch again. Up high for a ball. That is going to be a 1-1 count on Josh Lowe.
'91, weird pitch there from Logan. I don't know what that was. Something that didn't break or a fastball they just lost a little bit.
And now we're looking at the 1-1. Probably just slipped. I know how that feels when a pitch slips. I've had some of those like slip down the middle and then the guy just tanks it. As we're looking at a 2-1. 49 pitches for Gilbert. Starting to get up there a little bit. The 2-1 to Josh Lowe. Here's a ground ball, and Polanco's got it, and he loses it, and that is going to either be an infield hit, or it could be just an error. And there goes the perfect game. I think that should be an error. They give it. They ruled an infield hit. Yeah. Polanco really should have handled that, but he was coming out from an awkward angle.
Yeah, that's why I think they gave him the infield hit, because it was deep in the hole there. He didn't, and he got to you actually really can't give him an error because he fielded it. You know what I mean? There's no error that was made, really. He didn't throw it. He fielded. Oh, he did. He lost in a transfer.
But they still called it a hit anyway.
I get it. I'd probably lean towards it being a hit. Darn. I thought Logan looked like it. He looked like he had that special stuff.
He looked like that perfect game, which is why I never bring it up. I don't want to jinx it.
I knew why. I knew why you weren't saying it, but he had the look, like the way he's been throwing.
As we got a pop up to right field, and Robles is there, and he makes the catch again, and that's going to retire the side once again. And we go to the top of the 5th. It is still 0-0, but the Mariners are suffering on a no-hitter so far.
By the way, I got to say something here. 13 innings of baseball against the Rays. They have 3 hits. All are Josh Lowe. This entire
Isn't
series.
that great? Isn't that great? And let's see. Okay, this is the meat of the order. No excuse. Got to get the hits. He is absolutely correct.
Yeah, time to get a couple runs. Logan's dialed in.
Yeah, let's get some runs before Jay Trine's got to go. We want to celebrate something together, which we haven't even been able to do. Whenever, every time we were on a Mariners game together, it was always like the most extreme disaster.
I think the last game we did together was like the lowest of the low.
It was the second lowest of the low. It was that Dodgers game towards the end, and that's where the meltdown happened. And the other game we did together was the Cleveland game. So Mariners have yet to win with us together.
That's right.
Steve and I, how it works with Steve, he's in there, then he leaves, and then they win.
You guys did. There was a game I was listening to you guys did against Texas really early in the year when I was at work. It was at Texas. They won. I remember that one because I was listening to you guys.
I was at the Blue Jays. I was doing the Blue Jays game.
That's right. Well, they were. I didn't get to hear you do the end of it because I just didn't have service, or I had service, but I didn't catch the end of it. I was there though when Vlad hit the tying home run. That was frustrating.
That was brutal. Wait, what is going? Are they Cheap Trick Depart Journey? Huh?
What up? What?
They're showing something.
Oh, a concert?
I have no idea what they're showing on the ads. As we look at the beautiful horizon of Seattle, look at that. Look at that sunset. Look at those boats. And look at those cars that are not driving in traffic. This is probably the perfect time to drive in Seattle right now. As we go to the bottom of the 4th. And it's time for the Mariners to really step this up. And I'm sure that you miss you doing your shows. I mean, it would have been nice if you do it, because if you can't do it, I can listen to you or vice versa. But then our work lives kind of suck.
Yep.
Now here's Julio Rodriguez, and that is low for a ball. Ball 1 for Julio. He's batting deep. Second in the order.
Julio's going yard. This at bat. It's happening.
You're calling it, aren't you?
I'm calling it. He's due.
Oh, he's trying to bunt, and he throws it back, and that's going to be a 2-0. You know what? If Julio hits a home run in this at bat, I will keep it as JS Trident for the SeatGeek for the whole entire game.
He's trying to bunt you called him to say, I can't do it. Bunt Julio.
The 2-0. Wow. He swings at the dirt, and this guy's just chasing like, Edgar, where are you, man? You got to tell him to not swing like that. But I think it's going to be more of Julio, who just happens to have the habit, and he just can't get out of it.
Yeah. That's
can only teach so much.
And that's exactly. And some of these guys, then you change them and they get even worse. You almost have to you know what I mean? Like they try and change guys, and sometimes it doesn't help.
I mean, look how much Scott Service changed everyone on how to approach anything. So now they have to go through this adjustment, I guess. And now here is the 3-1 to Julio. And that is a strike. Full count, 3-2. If Flick gets the final score right, no commercials next game. Flick, what's the final score going to be? You got to throw it out there, and then I'll uphold your bet. As we're looking at the 3-2 to Julio.
Come on, Julio.
And now here's the pitch. And a swing and a miss again, strike 3, and that is going to be 2 outs. No, I think that's just 1 out. Yeah, that's 1 out. And he's struck out for the second time.
Could have walked. I mean, that last pitch was borderline, but the first one he swung at was a ball.
He should have been walking by now. So Flick of the Switch says 3-2 Mariners. If that's the case, if it's exactly 3-2, I will uphold my end of the bargain on the bet with no commercials next stream. And the pitch. And that is in there for a strike as Cal Raleigh takes it. And he's 0 for 1 with a pop-up. Sid Rock says 3-1 Mariners. Well, I don't know if I have a bet for you. And now here's the 0-1.
All in the bottom of the 8th.
You think so, huh? That would be nice. As soon as you leave.
Right. It's actually me. I'm the problem.
Hey, my whole don't quit your day job tactic was supposed to work, and it died immediately. Right. And a swing and a miss again. What is going on? Cal Raleigh swings and misses. Swung at another bad one. And 2 outs.
Problem is that changeup is really good, and you get yourself an 0-2 count. I'm not defending swing at those pitches, but you know, it's just is what it is. You get these bad counts, and you know that changeup you've got to protect, and it looks like it might be at the bottom of the zone. It just dives away. So someone's got to, you know, either catch a hanger. That's the thing with the team. They miss the middle. You got to do some damage with them. Hopefully Randy can do it right here, right now.
As we are looking at an 0-1 count on Arozarena, is also 0-for-1 with a fly out in the second. Really the only one that's really made contact. Now the pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 2. And Springs has 6 strikeouts. What an addition I made on my fantasy team.
Oh, how did Randy miss that 0-1 pitch? Oh, that was your hanger. That's it right there. That was 80 right there.
0-2 pitch. Outside for a ball. Maybe the Mariners are feeling that pressure from Houston losing, because winning today would make a ginormous difference. 2.5 games back, and nobody would have foreseen that. 25 doubles this season. And now the 1-2 pitch. And now here is a blooper, and that's a base hit, and that will drop in as Arozarena gets on base.
There we go. There's your bloop. Now we need the blast.
Yep, and it's going to be up to Jorge Polanco. We could use that second half. Jorge Polanco might be a little bit of there could be a chance. And by the way, the no-hitter is broken up. No-hitter's over as soon as that perfect game was over by Logan Gilbert.
Flick's right. Yeah, hits the one almost in the dirt, misses the hanger, but gets that one. I mean, good job staying with the changeup there, but yeah, exactly, Flick. Like, you know, I'll take it. I'm not going to turn down a base hit, but that 0-1 should have been deposited into the bullpen.
And Polanco's trying to do the bunt. I don't really like that idea. I don't know if Dan Wilson's calling for that, or is that just Jorge Polanco doing it? Either way, it was not a good idea to do a suicide bunt on 2 outs.
Well, I think he's bunting for a hit, but we already showed it super early. Kind of odd.
I guess he did it just to keep it on the ground. The pitch, and that is a strike. That makes sense. Now that I think about it, that makes sense, because if you get to the right field, if you get to the third base would be like, oh crap, I got to get that.
Mm-hmm. But just showed it too early. Like, you got to kind of do the Luke Raley and lay it down a little later.
Or Jake Taylor.
Yeah, there we go.
1-1. And that is a ball. 1-1.
Pitch count's getting up there for Springs, at least.
Yeah, it is getting up there. 60 pitches. And we got like the 2-1 so far, as Jorge Polanco is awaiting. He does bat better against the righties, though. And now here is a fly ball foul. And while we're waiting, next month, or might as well just say next month, October 1st, 2004, I'll be covering the Ichiro 258 game. Planning to. Just depends on playoff implications. And now we're looking at the 2-2. 2-2. And a foul ball. Might as well ask it now.
Who was the starting pitcher for the Mariners that game?
Ron Vallone.
Yes. Oh, wow. Great call.
Because I just watched it. I was watching it a few times. Because I'm like studying the game, because I just want to relive things. He was part of the Andy Bennis trade of 95.
That's right. He was. Yeah. Good call.
And that is calling time. It started with Mark Teixeira hitting a home run. And then Ichiro immediately got the hit. That was also the same game Edgar Martinez hit his last hit as a Mariner, actually as a baseball player.
Yeah.
As much as disastrous as 2004 was, that weekend itself was still very special. And now the 2-2. And a swing and a miss, strike 3, and that's going to retire the side. We are going to the top of the 5th inning, and boy, this game has been breezing along so quickly that I'm saying that you blink an eye, it goes from 1st inning to 4th inning.
That changeup is nasty. I mean, Mariners should be doing more, but I'll give it to Springs. That one to Polanco was really good. Like, that was perfect. Not much you can do with that one. Some of the other, and you got to swing it. That was probably a strike. So he has had a good changeup tonight. That's for sure.
7 strikeouts for Springs. He is probably the reason why I'm destroying this guy on my fantasy league, which is the league that you're going to join. And here are the teams that you'll be dealing with. I mean, here's just the names alone. You've got, if you give a mouse a Mookie, so Mookie Betts basically, and he has Mookie Betts. Is it Obernow from the Vault? I think that was a Keith Olbermann joke. I don't know. Greg's great team. He is the big fan of you. Fire Jerry DePoto. That's me. It used to be Fire Scott Service. Now it's Fire Jerry DePoto because I don't like what he did to his own friend. Even if it was ownership decision, he still said, "Hey, Scott, man, like my hands are tied. I have to fire you. They're making me do it. I tried to defend you, but I have to let you." He could have done that.
Yeah, it was
but he didn't even do that.
Yeah.
Then Macaroni and Cheese, Minnesota Twins, Craig's team, and Seattle JBL Headphones. Those are your what would be your team name? Would it just be Jay Trident Podcast?
Yeah, I gotta think of I am so bad with the creative names. That is not my forte, but I'll think of something to make it a little bit better here for next year.
And maybe the baseball league will attract. Actually, no. Maybe the baseball league between you and me being there with having 10, maybe it'll attract attention to get like maybe Couch GM, maybe who's another collaborator I can think of. I think that's all I can think of. Couch GM, maybe. Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, I can't think of anyone else with Flick's point. Like, I mean, I feel like it shouldn't have been done like that, but unfortunately for Scott, with the day and age of social media, it's happened in all sports. Remember, Bobby Wagner found out on social media. Unfortunately, it does happen. You know, I feel for him in the way that, like, yeah, that's dirty, but it's also just, man, it seems to be part of it nowadays, unfortunately.
Ghosting. Who would have thought ghosting would be a thing in business? Right. And now here's the pitch. Right. I mean, we were thinking ghosting's a thing in dating, and as Flick of the Switch mentioned, it's the Sick Podcast. I tried to reach out to Sick Podcast. I'm a number to him, but then again, I'm a number to basically everyone anyway.
I don't know who's the Sick Podcast. I don't know that one.
It's another Mariner YouTuber.
Oh, I haven't heard of that one yet.
And here's the O2. He kind of he just does a podcast Tuesday and Thursdays. He's a really smart guy. I'm just, maybe one day he could collaborate with all of us, but I'm surprised no one has actually reached out to him yet. But he seems to be a guy doing his own thing, and I think he's already a well-established guy of himself. He has around 200 subs right now because he just started. The 1-2, and that is low for a ball. And it's true. He's not a simp for the Mariners, just like this channel. I ain't simping for the Mariners either.
I'm a Mariners simp.
You are, definitely, but at least you keep it balanced. I mean, we have some that simp. We have some that talk absolute trash like I do. Everyone has their style. And it works for some and works for others. The 2-2.
Dan Wilson simp.
I quietly am too.
Yes.
But I also deep down knew that it was...
Oh, that was a strike.
There was a little bit of nostalgia in there when they hired him. Like, just even a little bit, at least. But then you hear Jeff Nelson, Brett Boone, as we were looking at a 3... No. Time's been called by the Caballero. No, but you hear things like from Lou Piniella, Brett Boone, Jeff Nelson saying that nothing but good things about Dan Wilson. And the biggest mistake I made in our show with Jeff Acero, I forgot to ask him about Dan Wilson. The only thing he said was, I forgot to ask. How did I not ask that question? And now the 3-2 and a foul ball. And if I had that clip of Jeff Acero saying all those things about Dan Wilson, I could have easily used it. We need a podcast that doesn't... I'm not going to read it verbatim, but just take it as it is. I don't blame you for saying it, but I ain't going to put my opinions on it. But I think based on the way I do my channel, I think you have the idea of what my channel is about. But yeah, Jared, if you want that kind of advice, go to Jay Trident Podcast. Go to I go to the Sick podcast. I think that's about it. Oh, East Coast M's is pretty decent too. The 3-2. And foul ball. And Jose Caballero is really fighting this off.
That's a shame Cal dropped that 2-2 because that was strike 3. It was perfect. 97 paint. That would have been strike 3, but he dropped it. So, it's tough for the ump to see that that's a strike. So hopefully we get Cabby here. A little wear and tear.
I don't want his job. And now the 3-2. And foul ball again.
Man, Cabby's annoying.
Jared, I know, but I'm not going to say it verbatim so YouTube can't rip me apart.
This will probably be my last half inning.
I don't blame you because this game is boring.
Well, no, it's
3-2.
Caballero's making it.
Oh, swing and a miss, strike 3, and down goes Caballero. And now we got one out. But it's okay. I got a second half guy.
Nice. Who's coming on?
One of my fans. He's wanted to go on for a bit. So he's going to be on. He was actually with me. Not. Oh, he's talking about the Sick podcast. He's been a fan for like 39 years. He's in the same wheelhouse as I am, and we're tired of the same old excuses. Yeah, we are too. The pitch.
Flick's coming on the podcast tonight. Flick.
Nah, Flick. I'm not getting. Nah, what? Would he want to? I mean, it's already full anyway. And now here's Taylor Walls. And here is the pitch. Up high for a ball, and that is going to be a 1-1 count. Yeah, Mariners are hard to watch. I agree. Look at this offense. It's been very difficult to watch.
Yeah, it's just they're kind of in that frustrating limbo a little bit where you don't know what to. I mean, we know what the team is, but they don't really have like a
1-1
weeks. Yeah,
strike 2.
There's weeks where they look like best team in baseball, then weeks where you wonder how they've ever won a game.
Yeah, you wonder how they even got out of that San Francisco series.
They're just streaky. It's just a streaky team. Like
very streaky and inconsistent.
Like I could see them going on a 14-4.
Strike 3 called.
I always have a few brewskis. I'm a big brewski guy. In fact, I'm not going to be doing football post-game recaps because I'm going to be having a few brewskis during football. So I'll have that stuff updated on my channel. But I'm a big brewski guy. I'll just leave it at that.
I might have one negative for Dan. When I watched him leave the Kingdom back in the 90s, he was wearing the same cardigan sweater, and I had my closet back. Had in my closet back home. Oh, that's a nice nitpicker.
More, Sid. That actually makes me like him more.
The pitch, and that is a strike. And before you go, I don't think I showed you this clip, but I did find a hidden clip of Dan Wilson back in 1997 when he was expressing his opinions on the pitch, and that is a strike. There was an opinion that Dan Wilson had back in 97 about the struggling bullpen when Heathcliff Slocum was like stinking the hole, which they got away with. But yeah, I'm looking for that clip so maybe you can have an impression before you leave the pitch. And that is outside for a ball. And Logan Gilbert really wants this inning to. I mean, he's got to end it fast eventually. All right, I found it. I'm uploading it right now. They're gonna. I mean, Dan Wilson was talking about maybe his style of leadership, and that's what we could have foreseen. And now the 1-2 pitch by Logan Gilbert. And that was a liner, and that is going to be a base hit, and we are talking extra base hits, and he is going to second base, and that is going to be a stand-up double for the Rays, and now you got a runner in scoring position, and Gilbert is creeping towards 70 pitches.
And the way this game's going, 1 run may be enough, so you want to get this one here.
Exactly. Can Dan Wilson outlaw the dance after the Mariners win? Oh, that little like groupie dance. I know. 50 push-ups for all the clubhouse guys if the Mariners lose. If I was a manager, that's exactly no. You know what's mine? 50 push-ups for each time you strike out. Oh man, The people with these comments, they always got to say things, don't they? And no, I'm not going to block you guys for it. I just can't respond to that. And now the pitch. And that is in there for a strike for Jose Siri. And Jose Siri, as much as he's having a bad season, he can still hit the ball. He still has pop. This is the YouTube. It's the Wild West. Never seen you, Jared, but you're on fire. Oh, swing and a miss. Now that's the Jose Series we know and love. And I got that Dan Wilson clip. It's about 37 seconds. It was in game 3 of the 97 ALDS against Baltimore. That was the Jeff Facero game that deserves more attention. And the 0-2 up high for a ball. And I think we all agreed that, and I think Jeff agreed too, that had the Mariners somehow found a way to win that series, Jeff Facero would have gotten much more recognition for his game 3 performance. And we're looking at the 1-2 for Logan Gilbert. And now the pitch. And strike 3 called, and that is going to retire the side. Despite the extra base hit, Mariners got away with it, and Logan Gilbert's on fire. And Jay Trine, before you go, here was that Dan Wilson comment, which possibly displayed his potential leadership of the future back in 1997.
Will he get the win or another blown save? Wilson going to the mound. We asked him, how do you deal with this bullpen this year?
The tougher part for me is to know when to be positive and know when to go out there and maybe rile them up a little bit and get them going. And these guys have, to their credit, have really worked hard all year. They've tried to make adjustments throughout the year and have really worked on their pitches. And as long as the guys are doing that and working hard, there's not a lot of things you can say to them other than just trying to pump them up and give them confidence out there, tell them that they, we know you can do it, you know you can do it, and let's just go out here and do it.
It's exactly what we expected.
That's what Boone said about Dan. He'll be tough when he needs to be tough, but also show the love when he needs to show it. So, yeah, I appreciate you having me on, man. Thank you. I will do it again here soon.
All right. Have a good day, Mr. Trident.
You too, my friend. Take care. Later, everybody.
Go Mariners. All right. So he is out, but appreciate his time there. And I'm going to try to get my buddy Ian on the show. Now it's his turn as we call to the bullpen. The bullpen is brought to you by SeatGeek. SeatGeek, use the promo code Rooftop Sports for your $20 off. And Alexa, turn on the lights. Okay. Thank you. I really needed that. Randy failed us on game 1 of that Baltimore series. Steve and Jay slackers. Steve lives on the East Coast, and Jay Trine's got his other things to do. And Ian should be coming on momentarily, as he is going to be the second half guy. As Springs, he is up to, and that is outside for a ball. Springs is now at around 60 pitches. 64 pitches. Well, then say it to their face. Flick of the switch. And the 1-0. And that is a strike. Been getting quite a bit of activity in this channel or this show. I appreciate the activity. And now the 1-1. And that is low for a ball for Justin Turner. And that is going to be a 2-1 count. And I am done wearing those headphones because my ears need to breathe as we are looking at the 2-1. And now the pitch. And that is a foul ball. As we are looking at a 2-2. Baltimore should have played Atlanta that year. So you think Baltimore should have beaten Cleveland and Atlanta should have beaten the Marlins? That would have been quite of a series to watch, actually. The 2-2. And there would have been a lot at stake. Mike Mussina trying to get a World Series. Cal Ripken trying to get one more before he retires. There was a lot at stake. As we are looking at the 2-2 thus far for Justin Turner. And the pitch. And now here's a ground ball right to the second baseman. Throw to first. And that is in time to get the out, but at least Justin Turner took a bit to get out. At least he didn't strike out in vain or something like that. And that was Jose Caballero making the play. J-Rod Squad. I haven't sit at the J-Rod Squad yet, but maybe I will go to a game someday to experience what it's like sitting at the J-Rod Squad. Those are the two best teams by far in 1997. Now, Jared, let me ask you this. Do you think if, as we got waiting a pitch by Mitch Haniger, and here is the pitch, and that is a foul ball. And let me just ask you this, Jared. Do you think had the Mariners came back and won in 97 versus the Baltimore Orioles, do they beat Cleveland and make it to the World Series? Why don't you answer that question? And now we got Ian back in our show, the pitch, and that's a swing and a miss. Yep, that was a swinging.
No, I don't think we make it past the Indians in 97. We couldn't do it. We couldn't do it in 95. So I don't think that one added pitcher was going to help us do it.
And the pitch outside for a ball. Now it's up to Jared to answer that question because I'd like to hear what he thinks. Because Jeff Passero thought that it could have been possible because of the lackluster bullpen the Indians had, but so did the Mariners. And now here is the pitch. And that is a foul ball. Yes, they do. Cleveland was not as good in 97 as they were in 95. Not even close, which is true because Cleveland had Jim Thome as third base, Paul Sereno as first base. Jose Mesa was like in his prime. Albert Bell was who they had, and Kenny Lofton. So you are correct. I mean, and a swing and a miss, and down goes Haniger. Like, there's quite a difference between Marquise Grissom and Kenny Lofton, and I would have taken Kenny Lofton. Cleveland was lucky just to get by the Yankees. Yeah, the 97 Yankees team should have been on the running for a repeat.
Yeah.
I mean, 97, they had Tino Martinez in his prime. They still had Cecil Fielder holding up and the pitch. And that is a ball. What you got there?
It's I don't know what it is. It's a Japanese drink, and it's pretty good.
And that is a 1-0. Japanese and the Koreans always make their interesting drinks and snacks. Especially the snacks.
No, you can't.
And now the 1-1 and the pitch and a swing and a miss. Jared knows about his 90s. Well, Jared, have you checked out some of my Mariners content? I have some Mariners nostalgic content that you should probably check out, and I'm going to link them to you on this chat box. And now here's the pitch. Up high for a ball. Although the Mariners have been frustrating this game, at least they've kind of been more patient at the plate, with the exception of Cal Raleigh and Julio Rodriguez, who they've been just absolutely miserable.
Well, Dylan Moore, this at-bat's really messing up.
He is, and the 2-2. Swing and a miss, strike three, and there he goes. And that is going to be retiring the side as we go to the top of the sixth. And there is still nothing doing between the two teams so far. And Jared, here's a video. This was about the Tino Martinez trade. The Mariners were the favorites to win the World Series in 97. I remember that. And did you know in 97, when the Mariners traded away Jose Cruz Jr., they actually had a chance to get Joe Carter and Dan Plesac in that deal. But because of, course, the cheapness of the ownership, and they did not want to take on Joe Carter's contract and Plesac's contract, they settled for Paul Spoljaric and Mike Timlin. How about that?
What a steal. Absolute thievery by us that year.
Yeah. It was a big-time steal. Paul Spoljaric was a nobody bullpen, and Mike Timlin was like meh at best.
Yeah, really bad stuff. We never should have done those deals, but oh well.
We got Jamie Moyers off the waivers in August. Actually, no. Jamie Moyer was off of a trade off of Darren Bragg. So maybe you don't have all the 90s that I do. Maybe we'll have a fight. Jared, why don't you quiz me? Quiz me on some Mariners 90s, or actually, let's start with Mariners. Quiz me on some Mariners 90s stuff, and I'll probably be able to answer all the questions, and I'll try to put the money where my mouth is. Be looking forward to your questions of the 90s. But I remember the Mariners did release Luis Sojo in 96. Oh, what years was Paul Sereno with the M's? 96 to 97. 23 home runs and 31 home runs in 97.
I got one for you, Rooftop, when you're ready.
Yeah.
What was Darren Bragg's best year with the Mariners?
I think 95 was his best year.
It was, and it was very unimpressive.
Yeah, that's why they traded him for Jamie Moyer, and they got lucky with that trade too.
I can't believe that they gave up Jamie Moyer for Darren Bragg.
Yeah. That was a steal. That was a steal trade.
It was, because Jamie Moyer is the Mariners' legacy, and Darren Bragg is the Mariners' nobody.
He is. And we got Alex Jackson, the former first-round pick of the Mariners back in 2014, and now the pitch. And there is a fly ball to deep right field. Still going, still going. Nope, to the marine layer, and Robles makes the catch. Alex Jackson was known to have some power in his bat.
I got another one for Jared here. We'll see. That's incorrect, buddy. If you just said Moyer didn't do anything before Seattle, that's not fully correct.
But he was a journeyman pitcher. He is right about that. Now here's Christopher Morel.
I forgot that he's on the Rays. I'm going to be real honest.
Now the pitch. And that is low for a ball.
What streaming service are you on?
I'm on StreamYard.
No, I know. I meant, like, what are you watching the game through?
Oh, Root Sports. Yeah, the Root Sports app.
Oh, gotcha. I'm watching
1-0. What are you watching off of? As we got a 1-1 count so far.
a FUBO, and I'm behind you by a pitch.
Because FUBO is like always behind on everything.
Yeah, I didn't pay for it. My friend's buddy has it. I have Hulu Live Sports, but they don't cover Mariners games, of course.
Sadly, the 1-1. And there's a fly ball to deep right field and fouled. Funny thing is, I bought quite a bit. I bought around 100 shares of FUBO stock because it's a heavy penny stock.
Mm-hmm.
My GameStop plan heavily failed. I thought when Roaring Kitty went live, I was like, okay, this is the next run. Let's do it. One more run. Nope. And now it's creeping possibly below $20 by the end of tomorrow. It dropped $2 a share. I bought it at 28. It was not good.
I have my grandparents originally lived down in LA before Disney started, so they got invested in legitimate Disney stock. So I got passed down it. So I have some pretty valuable Disney stock. Nice. My smart thing was I was like, you couldn't go wrong investing in Dutch Bros. Well, it didn't do what Starbucks did. So I thought.
As we're looking at the 2-2, the Yandy Diaz. I'm anxious to see what NVIDIA is going to do tomorrow. Because they're coming out with the reports, so I'll be very anxious. I don't even know to buy or sell. I don't even know because you never do know. And now we're looking at the 2-2 for Yandy Diaz. And now here's the pitch. And now here's a ground ball, and that is going to get right through for a base hit. As you know, maybe if the Mariners did trade for Yandy Diaz, that doesn't happen.
That quote flick of the switch is Luis Sojo, and it was one of the greatest bunts I've ever seen.
It was like this. Here's the pitch. Swinging a ground ball. That gets through. A base hit. And here comes, it goes, here comes Flowers. Here comes Tino. Here comes Joey. The relay to the plate. The throw by Langston. Gets up by Allenson. Cora scores. Here comes Sojo. He scores. Everybody scores.
It was one of the greatest moments in Mariners history.
It was. People forget that the Mariners had to blow a 2-game lead. They did against the Texas Rangers because Mickey Kettleton decided to ruin it for them.
Yeah.
And now we're looking at an 0-2 for Junior Caminario. I can't even say his name.
Junior. Yeah, you
Who
probably.
knows? And now here's the pitch. And now here's a liner, and that is going to drop in for a base hit. And that may move the runner to third. No, that's going to be runners in first and second. And now you got a runner on scoring position. And as much as Logan Gilbert was pitching brilliantly, Tampa Bay has finally got to him. And now he's on 86 pitches in the top of the 6th inning. This is where you get a little bit nervous, if not more nervous than ever. I mean, the futility of the Mariners offense is finally catching up. And it really is showing.
Astros lost today. We can all thank Justin Verlander for not pitching his best.
Yeah, but you really want to seize the opportunity to get a 2.5 back.
Oh, you really do, especially when we play Houston. What, 3 games? That's
3 games in Houston. And that's with Hector Neris back, and him and Julio. That's going to be a big series, no matter what the implications are.
Yep.
As we're looking at the 0-1. And now here's the pitch. And a swing and a miss, strike 2 to Josh Lowe. And Jared, fun fact about that Heathcliff Slocum trade, the Boston Red Sox were actually considering to DFA Heathcliff Slocum. And then the Mariners came at the 11th hour and pulled that trade off. The pitch. And check swing, did he go? He did not. And that is going to be ball 1, 1-2. Yeah, the desperate moves, that the straw that broke the camel's back was when they blew a huge lead against Boston in 97, and that's why they did it. As we're looking at a 1-2 for Josh Lowe. And now here's the pitch. And that is low, and that nearly got away. And that's going to be a 2-2 on the Josh Lowe. 88 pitches for Gilbert, and you would think that this could be his last inning going into the 7th inning if that were to be. I mean, with the amount of pitches that it may take to get Logan Gilbert out, it may be 100 by the time this is over.
Quite possibly.
The pitch. And that is up high for ball 3. 3-2, full count. Now you really got to be careful because you do not want to load the bases. As Jared says.
What?
Oh, I don't know. As we're looking at the 3-2. And, almost could have been a balk, but it will not be. Oh, yeah, Jared, I can attest to that. Russ Davis at third base, more errors than home runs. And I guess Joey Cora had a down year probably. As we are looking at the 3-2 by Josh Lowe. And the pitch. And a swing and a miss, strike 3, and that's going to be 2 down. And we got 2 outs so far. Mariners also won that division because of a very bad division. Division had an off year, with the exception of the Angels that were still somewhat competing. The Texas Rangers had an off year, and the Oakland A's were in the process of trading away Mark McGwire and trying to develop Jason Giambi, which, by the way, Jason Giambi was actually a teammate of Mark McGwire for a stretch, and Jason Giambi was actually their third baseman rather than the first baseman.
Mm-hmm.
But if only Jason Giambi still hung around with Mark McGwire, if only the A's were willing to pay, but they were not. Imagine if the A's were able to experience, Oakland fans were able to experience the 70 home run Mark McGwire season as Oakland A. What could have been?
Would have been if, say, Canseco had stayed healthy and played good. A Canseco, McGwire, and Giambi, that would have been insane.
If only they did it for just... If only ownership just was willing to hang on to it, but they were not.
They don't want to spend that kind of... Well, at least that ownership doesn't want to spend money.
No, and this was before John Fisher. So they were cheap for a long time. That was Joey Cora's best offensive year. He made a ton of throwing errors from second base. He did. He hit 11 home runs and actually was an all-star. Giambi is lucky to be alive. Man, he was looking... Yeah, I mean, look at Jeremy Giambi. He unfortunately threw his life away. The pitch. And a check swing, did he go? Yes, he did, as we are looking at a 1-1 count. Yeah, Jason Giambi has not looked the best for a while. I don't think he ever... It's like, I think whatever happened in New York must have got to him.
No, it did. A bunch of blocks by Cal lately right now. He's really keeping us in it.
1-1. Swing and a miss, strike 2. I wonder if Giambi may have... Did he have like alcohol problems like his brother did? I mean, he had to.
He did have one. I remember it coming out in the Oakland Bay. Actually, there should be a Bay Area news article about Giambi having an alcohol problem right before he went to New York.
Sounds about right. The 1-2. And low, that nearly gets away, and that's going to be a 2-2. Like you said, Cal Raleigh has actually been the one keeping the Mariners in this game rather than Logan Gilbert. Mac was gone by 2001. A's didn't have any pitching until 2000. They were better than our current crop now. And now the pitch. And that is a foul ball. And we're going to try this again.
80, 90 pitches out here. 94, 95, 96.
How the A's did not win beyond multiple championship is beyond me. You are correct. Like 2001, how did they not win one more game against the 2001 Yankees? Yeah. Maybe Jeremy Giambi should have slid against Derek Jeter. And the 2-2. And that's going to be a 3-2 count.
That would have changed the entirety of everything because we could have beat the A's easily.
Oh, yeah. A's were broken by then. And that would have been a fun series. I mean, the rivalry.
Maybe he should have slid. I still don't think Jeter's throw was in time the more I watch that play, but that's just my personal opinion.
I just think Jeremy should have slid because that would have caused some disruption. The 3-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3, as you see the passion out of Logan Gilbert, and he gets out of a huge jam. We go to the bottom of the 6th. It is still 0-0, and Logan Gilbert with strikeout number 10. And you would think that that's probably his last inning. That probably 97 pitches. I mean, do you see Dan Wilson? If it was 2001, maybe.
Man, you got to feel for the guy on deck. Jose Caballero wanted to be that hero of rooting.
He really did. What year was Witten on the Mariners? It was actually 1996, where the Mariners traded away Robert Blanco of Venezuela for Mark Witten, who hit 12 home runs in 40 games. And tragically, Roger Blanco died in 1999 in Venezuela. He was unfortunately a failed minor league prospect. I think he was probably playing baseball in his later days. And actually, he was still a young kid. And I have a really hot take. 96 was actually their best performing trade deadline other than 95 because they traded for Dave Hollins. Yes, it costed David Ortiz, but at the time he actually wasn't even a top 10 prospect for the Mariners. So player to be named later when it's David Ortiz. Who would have foreseen that David Ortiz was actually going to do what he did? No one could have predicted that. Then they traded Roger Blanco for Mark Witten. They traded for Jamie Moyer. And they nearly actually traded for Curt Schilling, but they instead settled for Terry Mulholland, and that was off of Desi Relaford.
That would have been a better trade for Curt Schilling. As far as Ortiz, just to add in there, I think steroids are the only reason he got to be where he was, and then obviously he figured out how to hit the ball and got better in Boston. But I think there's a lot about Ortiz that no one will ever know because he won't admit to the true usage of steroids.
No, he was. He was just as much of a steroid user as all the other guys in the 90s, but because he was a lovable Boston guy, of course they're not going to taint him. If he was like anywhere else, like the Yankees, they would have went after him day one.
Mm-hmm.
And now we got a new pitcher, and this is Edwin Ucita. And he is one of the he's actually doing really well. 20 games, 0.86 ERA, 39 strikeouts, 4 walks. You're not going to get much out of him. Maybe the Mariners should have traded for him. The pitch. That is outside for a ball, but that probably would have costed a ransom. Yeah, imagine if Mariners actually had the balls to trade for Curt Schilling. Randy Johnson and Curt Schilling in 97, and Jeff Facero and Jamie Moyer. That would have been like easily the best starting pitching, as if they already had the best starting pitching and one of the best in baseball.
It would have been the best besides the Braves, most likely.
Yeah, Glavine, Maddox, and Smoltz, you're not going to beat that. Which is why in 95, had the Mariners won the World Series, they would have gotten smoked. The 2-2. And that is a foul ball. And even 2001, I think they still would have gotten smoked by the Diamondbacks.
Oh, yeah, they had Randy Johnson, who would have definitely thrown really good against us.
Oh, yeah. And the 2-2 pitch. And that is, and the other thing is he already knew like half the teammates. Moneyball A's actually, honestly, Scott Service ruined Moneyball for me because he got way so obsessed with that analytics stuff. As that is strike 3 called, and down goes Leo Rivas. But yeah, the thing that Moneyball did not acknowledge is they didn't even talk about Zito, Mulder, and Hudson. That was actually the thing that kept it all together. And also Miguel Tejada, Eric Chavez, Jermaine Dye.
I don't think people understand how good Miguel Tejada actually was.
Yeah, he was actually a hot free agent. And now here's a line drive, and that is going to drop in for a base hit as Victor Robles gets on base. And now it's going to be up to Julio Rodriguez. Yeah, I don't know if he's going to do anything, though, unfortunately. Man, I was prepping for dinner, just expecting a Mariners run. Let's go. Let's do something.
September 14th, guys. If you want to go to the game, catch that Funko Pop for Luis Castillo.
I'd rather, for me, when I go to baseball games, I'd just rather go to Everett. It's way more chill and laid back.
Oh, yeah.
Mariners games require too much planning for me.
I understand. I have season tickets, and so I go. And Everett's a drive for me. I haven't been to a Rainiers game since I was probably 10 years old.
The thing about Rainiers is they don't have the hottest prospects because they already skipped Double-A. I mean, skip after Double-A.
I remember.
Oh,
continue. Sorry.
No, you can continue. The pitch to Julio, and he does it again. Strike 1.
I remember they had a guy named Matt Tuiasosopo, and when I was there, he hit his 3 home run night there. The last time I was there, and he hit 2 off the high school, which had to be around about a 480-foot shot. And
the throw to first, and he's back in time. Tuiasosopo also made Mike Blowers famous for a little bit. He's gonna hit a home run on a 3-1 count, and it's gonna hit the upper deck. He almost nailed it all, which he pretty much did, and now fly ball foul.
Yeah, I remember that. Blowers' best call right there.
Oh, Jared, the hat. Have they booted you yet? Because I know friends that got booted for wearing that hat. And now we're looking at the 0-2 and the pitch. And that is up high for a ball, 1-2.
I'm surprised he hasn't.
You see the crowd that I attract? The way I vibe with people, this is the crowd I get. Hey, man, I signed up for it.
Nothing wrong with it. I really
not at all.
Remember when they were bringing up the Trump flag? Like, I want to say 2020, they had the Trump flag out in the outfield. That fan kept bringing it.
I never heard about that. And it had to be 2019, actually.
Yeah, it was 19, and it was like literally every couple of games he'd be there with it, and people were just rioting about it and getting pissed off.
Whew. As we are looking at the 1-2 and the pitch, and that is outside for a ball. I mean, with the stance of YouTube, I really can't say anything. I don't want to, because YouTube's gonna be like, "Hey, you cut that out. Don't talk about that."
It's true.
And now we're looking at the 2-2 and the pitch. Oh, yep, that's strike 3. I knew it. I thought the umpire was gonna call a ball for a second.
Got you, didn't he?
Oh, Jared. You keep saying it, and I have a dare for you. I dare you to go on all the other Mariner YouTubers and say the same exact thing. I dare you. You won't do it.
Wonderful message. You're blocked.
I know at least a few that actually would, just right on spite. I'm not gonna say the names because I don't want someone to like record me and use it against me kind of thing. As we are looking at an 0-1 on Cal Raleigh. Throw to first. Not in time. And that bullpen pitcher has quite of a slick arm. Oh, Jared. What am I going to do with you? And you cannot credit me for it. If you credit me, oh no. That will not end well. But then again, no one really collaborates with me anyway, so what does it matter? 0-1. And a throw to second, and not in time. And Robles, I thought that was going to go into the outfield, and maybe Robles could have ran to third base. As we are looking at an 0-2 so far.
A couple of us collab with you.
That's true. I got Jay Trident Podcast. I got the Steve. I actually had Couch GM before.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
But I noticed Couch GM's been doing a lot of things differently in the last month.
Yeah.
We have, yeah, I mean, Eastern Washington, there's no question about that. The 0-2, inside for a ball. I mean, Eastern Washington's been trying to join forces with Idaho along with Eastern Oregon, and we're talking Pendleton in the middle of nowhere, Oregon, where you see a bunch of wind turbines everywhere. That's when you know you're in the East. The 1-2, and that is low for a ball, 2-2. Okay, Jared, what does the Marine Layer say? Did they even respond to it, or do they or they just ignore you? I would think they did just ignore you. And now we're looking at the 2-2, and now the pitch outside for a ball, 2-2. I mean, the one thing I can say is it is disappointing to see a lot of the division that has happened between people just all over some opinions, which is why some just don't want to bother. How do you know Jackson Feltz, Jared? He actually was a friend of mine. Long story how that didn't work out. 3-2. And that is low for ball 4, and Cal Raleigh gets on base, and now it's up to the Randy Arozarena to make it happen.
Randy had a nice stroke last night. I don't want to believe in his swing yet. I think that was purely luck because the game I was there that I came on your show, he left 10 men stranded on base.
He really did, yeah. But Jared, what has Jackson Feltz got to do with everything? Like, are you friends with him? Or I wouldn't think you are, but where is this origin of knowing Jackson Feltz other than 93.3 KJR? I mean, there's got to be something behind that, Jared.
What happened with you and Jackson?
I was actually his groomsman.
Oh, so you guys were like friends.
We were like close. And then he hated all of my Seattle sports comments and everything kind of went disaster. It ended all over that. There was a lot more to it, but that's where it all started. It was all over because I was crapping on ownership and everything. And he was like that, oh, but you gotta be positive kind of thing. I mean, that's his prerogative, but I mean, that's how a friendship was lost, I guess. But there was a lot more to it. I also drove him nuts.
Well, still to be a groomsman and then not.
Bro, the third. Oh, and that gets away, and Victor Robles is going home, and the Mariners are going to score, and it's a 1-0 game. What a score by Victor. Nice heads up, going to third base, and he steals home after the wild throw.
That was a horrible play by the catcher there.
Will more than take it.
Just, I don't understand what he was doing there with the throw to begin with. Like, that throw was nowhere near. At least Cal's in scoring position. Now, maybe Randy can add on to this.
We would like to see Randy add on to it. And it's good to see the Mariners finally take a 1-0 lead as I'm looking for some kind of notebook. So I got to take some notes, which, well, going to have to improvise with a piece of paper. And now we're looking at the 1-1. Now here's the pitch. Inside for a ball. You got to give it to Arozarena for taking that risk to steal bases.
You mean Robles?
Yeah, Robles. What did I say?
Arozarena.
Nice. Well, Randy is trying to take a risk here, I guess.
Yeah. He's
now the pitch. Oh, yep. He took a risk right there. A really bad one. Oh, man. Look at all these comments. I'm not blocking, but I'm just saying, like, wow, this is the crowd I attract. I signed up for it, 2-2. And strike 3, swing and a miss. That's exactly what I expected out of a Arozarena.
Whoa.
And that will retire the side.
I just saw the comment you got. Oh, boy.
Yeah, oh, boy. I mean, I just can't say it.
Oh, you can't, and you shouldn't.
Nope, it's not my business, and it's not the brand of my channel. Unless I want to end up like Tom Brenneman. Remember when he forgot to hit the mute button, or he wasn't aware that he was actually on air? He said he shouldn't have got it. Like, he shouldn't have been fired all over it. Maybe it should have been a slap on the wrist. But man, lack of awareness.
It's true.
easier said than done. Yeah, it was a very stressful time in 2020. So of course someone snaps and says something, but losing Tom Brenneman was a huge blow. Like aside from that, not saying how I feel about it, but it was like he was a fantastic play-by-play guy. He always made the game exciting, and then, buddy, if you just hit the mute button. That's all you gotta do, or save it till the end. I don't know.
My favorite is still the Castellanos one where he's apologizing.
Oh yeah, as there's the fly ball to left field to Castellanos, and the Reds are up. And I just want to say I am so very, very sorry. Not that I'm mocking him or anything, but that's exactly what happened. And the scariest part was like, here's Jim, and he is going to take over. That was the most scary part.
Yeah,
they like fired him like on the spot, and they say, "Okay, you have this last inning."
Yeah, I mean, thanks for having me on. It's always fun to do baseball. I mean, I'm going to make a hot take here, which maybe I'm not going to be able to do play-by-play anymore with this, but the A's lady announcer might be the worst announcer I've ever heard in baseball. Just I can't stand it.
What's so bad? Like, is it like she's off or?
For example, during a Reds game, there was or Angels game. She said, "Is that a home run?" And the ball went over the fence. Quite literally on air, asked if it was a home run, and then they were playing the Rays, and I forget who. Siri, she said, "It's not your night, Siri." The next pitch, he proceeded to hit an absolute 385-foot dong. And that was his second of the night. And I was like, so then how is it not his night if he goes 2 for 2 with 2 home runs? Like, just some of the takes she says is bad. And she also just talks about it. She's like, oh, and there's a play at third, and he's
I
out.
gotta see this. I gotta see this.
Yeah. Look at the A's lady announcer.
Oh, no.
It's bad.
What happened to Steve Lyons? I remember he was a color commentator for Tom Brenneman. What did they do to Steve Lyons? Did they cancel him too?
One away for the Rays there. Nice catch by Julio.
Oh, Susan Weidman for the Yankees. Yes, she's good. And she has that really catchy New York accent where you feel like you're watching The Sopranos. That's how badass she is.
Yeah, I mean, she's fine, but you got to listen to the A's lady. It drives me bonkers.
Ugh. And now we're looking at the 0-1 for Chargois. And that is a strike.
Chargois is a cool name. I dig that dude's name.
Yeah, it's a cool name. As Everett, they are destroying Eugene 11-2.
Wow.
And the pitch. And that is low for a ball, 1-2. I mean, don't forget, it's the Yankees. The Yankees hire the best of the best when it comes to their media members. They don't mess with New York. And they are also that in-your-face personality. I don't think you will see one YouTuber that does it like, well, the YouTubers that we have here. 1-2. And that is inside for a ball, 2-2. Oh, Jared. I'm not responding to that.
Oh,
I'm not going to say anything, man. I ain't blocking. But someday someone's going to pressure me to.
I won't be.
Strike 3 called, and down he goes, and Chargois with a questionable strikeout.
I won't be able to come back on the show if I answer that, Jared, but that gave us
yeah, I'm not going to. Oh, Jared. What? I feel like this is like your first or second time, but you're really... And don't forget the popcorn, too, flicking the switch.
Taylor Walls just... he can't hit the ball.
Well, let's hope he doesn't, because maybe he jinxed at the pitch. And that is outside for a ball. And we're looking at the 1-0, the count.
Mm-hmm.
And now the pitch. And that is a swing and a miss. And that is a strike 1.
Johnny DeLucia.
As we're looking at the 1-1. And the pitch. And that is going to be low for a ball. 2-1 the count. On Johnny DeLuca. It almost sounds like Paul LaDuca in some kind of way, I think. And now we are looking at the 2-1. And now the pitch. Check swing. Did he go? He did go, and that's going to be strike 2. And we're looking at the 2-2 so far. And the pitch. And now here's a line drive, and that is going to be a base hit as there is a runner on base. And that is going to be a runner on the first base. But there is 2 outs. And also, I have good news and bad news for you, Mr. Flick of the Switch, and that's if I can get this video on time. I have a 7th inning stretch video of myself. I think the size file might be too big, so maybe you'll escape it. But at least it's not me singing, but you may have to deal with me singing it. Unless we can have Ian sing it. And that is the next pitch, and that is going to be a strike.
What will I be singing?
Oh, the 7th inning stretch.
Oh, that's fine. I'll sing. I love it.
Okay.
No.
Oh, the video file's too large unless I'm willing to cut it down, but I don't think I'll have enough time to do it. And that is a throw to first. Not in, or that is not obviously not in time. I'm going to see if I can try to get the video fast.
Otherwise, you're
I think there's going to be a lot of, maybe the content creators of the Mariners community are going to rally against me to get rid of you guys. That's what they're going to do. And the 0-1. And that is a strike. 0-2. I'm just saying, like I ain't gonna block people for their comments. I think it's just childish, unprofessional, and that just causes headaches. I just won't say anything. That's all. I'll just leave it.
Be the bigger man. Be the
bigger man. The 0-2 and the runner goes, and that's a foul ball.
Hey, look, it's Siri. Should I do the A's announcer thing? No,
I don't even. And Jared, I don't think Brett Boone would have thought that was offensive either. Brett Boone probably would have laughed it off, maybe. And we are looking at the next pitch for Jose Siri. And here is the 0-2 pitch. And that is a foul ball again. And that is, we're going to try this again. That's strike 2.
And we'll do it again.
My video is coming. I'm condensing it. Hopefully it'll be less than 200 megabytes as we are looking at the 0-2.
Otherwise, I'll have to sing, warm up the pipes.
Yep. And a throw to first, and not in time. Looks like they don't want you to sing.
No, I'm sure they do not.
I really hope I do get a chance to cover him on September 11th because I'm definitely going to choose. I'm definitely going to pick a clip on who's going to sing the national anthem. And now here's the 0-2, and that is popped up and fouled. My top choice so far is Jordan Sparks from the Super Bowl from the Giants and the Patriots of 2007. That is easily a top 5. Whitney Houston also comes to mind. I would do Carl Lewis, but that would just be too funny for a day like that.
You just got to sing the person who sang it for the Saints Super Bowl, who absolutely butchered it.
I don't remember that one, but it must have been that bad, huh?
She missed, I want to say an entire line or something like that.
Ouch. And now here is a fly ball to deep center field, and Julio's going back, and that is gone. That is a 2-run home run given up, and we are looking at a 2-1 lead by Tampa Bay, and that just happened in a shocker. You kind of felt that was a home run because the guy with the way he was walking and styling. I was hoping that Julio maybe had a chance to catch it, but ain't happening.
And that was Jose Siri, and he thought he pimped that, and he did.
He really did. He did it in style, unfortunately, at our expense. And this could be soul crushing because Richter Robles had to come up he had to basically make magic out of nothing to score that. And now Jose Siri just pretty much erased it immediately. And he has homered 3 of his last 5 games.
I just saw the Rays bench, and for half a second, I thought I had saw Wander Franco, and I'm like, how?
And now here's another fly ball to left field, but Arozarena's there and makes the catch, and that is going to retire the side. And I'm still going to try to see if I can condense it down and have you sing, because mine might be a little bit funnier. Flick of the switch might get a laughter out of it, but we'll see. Let's see if I can get it quickly.
I hope you can.
I know. I hope so too, because I want to get the laughs. All right. There's that. That should be a little bit condensed. Editing on the fly. So Jose Siri did this for me so you don't have to sing. So I guess he was doing us a favor.
Yes, he was.
Save your skin. But it's still coming at a huge, substantial cost. And it is still not uploading, because how many megabytes is it? 641. So ain't happening. You are singing. Actually, hold on. Let me see if... Nope, it's not going to do it. All right, you're singing, buddy.
You don't want to sing with me?
Okay, we will do it by... Okay, I'll start it off, and I'll point at you. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd.
Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I ever get back.
So let's root for the Mariners. If they don't win, it's a shame. It would be a shame because Houston lost. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game. And they better win this.
They should. They're only down a run, so.
Oh, I got a Korean guy here. Seattle already lost. Can't even spell Shark. Well, I don't blame him. Disgusting pitcher. I have all these. Where am I getting all these savage people? Can I at least get savage donations? Like money savagely?
A beautiful shot of Seattle from Root Sports, even though it's a little bit delayed on your side. But that's a nice shot of downtown tonight.
Yeah, that's probably the highlight of the game, let's be honest.
It is a nice sunset. Beautiful day. Roof's open here. Great night for ball. And question is...
But Mariners batters stink the hole. And, I mean, let's go back. Like, did you blame Dan Wilson for pulling Logan Gilbert?
No.
JT Chargois, I don't know if you could have gone wrong with JT Chargois. He's been a solid pitcher.
I don't think that was... I think, truthfully, Siri just saw his pitch and hit it. And, again, a home run, I'm willing to give up 2 runs. We need to be able to score at least 3 or 4 a night. So, truthfully, a 2-1 lead should not be detrimental to this club.
No, it should not. But with this offense, it kind of is. Like, it's like a game of soccer.
And with Polanco up, he needs to actually do something because I'm getting tired of his underperforming second base.
Yeah. Now the pitch. You got to keep Logan one more inning. You know, I had a dark thought of possibly, but nobody goes over 100 anymore, unfortunately. And Rays were kind of getting to him.
Well, I mean, if we give him another inning, how do you know he's not going to give up like 3 or 4 runs? Because he was losing it.
He really was. Like, he was starting to lose it as Jorge Polanco strikes out. I will just call you, Joe, but Ems will make a comeback, my guy. I hope you're right. You got to take into account the psychology of giving a lead that late. Yeah, you're not wrong.
I think it's funny. He must know you in real life as well, huh?
He's got to, but I don't know. As we got a running play? No. But that could have happened. As we got a foul ball by Justin Turner.
I mean, how many people call you by your real name on this channel? That's the crazy part.
It's very rare.
Yeah, that's why.
I mean, everyone knows names. I mean, I know names of all content creators. There's Colton and Joe from Mariners Mojo. There's Connor of Couch GM. There's Joe of Jay Trident Podcast. There's Steve of Swing It for the Fences. Jake of Raise the Trident. A lot of J's in the names I've noticed.
I haven't figured out a nice screen name, so I'm just using my real name. I just personally don't care, but I'll think of something here.
Yeah, you shall. And that is going to be up high for a ball, 2-1. Listen to Bill Kruger. Your starters are always your best option, always. Yeah, I mean, Bill Kruger is part of he was part of the baseball back in the old days. He was actually part of the 95 team for a split second.
Yeah.
As we got it outside for a ball, 3-1, 2-2.
Me, it's not pitch count, it's the command. And when you lose your command, you lose it. If a guy is in his 100 pitches and he's still got good command, you keep, but it's all based off command. And if you start
2-2, foul ball.
You'll learn that more as you coach. You'll see it, because I mean, you can't run a dude that many pitches who lost his command. It's just not there.
Now, had Scott Service done it, would you still have been okay with the Chargois? I think I still would have.
He wouldn't have put Chargois in. Let's just be real. He would have run out Saucedo, and Sauce would have given up an 8 spot.
Probably, and now the 2-2. And a swing and a miss, strike 3, and we've got 2 outs. And this offense is back to the way it seems to be going back to the Dodgers series. And as much as we were saying how bad the offense was against the Giants, they at least scored 4 runs.
You know, I think it's just taking time for Edgar to get. I mean, Scott has let another hitting coach in here do some wildly horrible things. So I think it's going to take time. I also really find it funny that Nintendo still advertises for the Mariners, because they're no longer a majority owner. So I don't know if that's a deal they worked out or what.
They're a minority owner.
Yeah, I just didn't. They get a lot of publicity and a lot of screen time there for the Mariners. So it's kind of interesting to me.
Yeah, it's just typical business.
I remember when it said Sato and something else charge on the dugout rails.
No, I don't remember.
That was prior to this.
As we're going to the 0-1. Now here's a ground ball to third base. Nothing doing. Throw to first in time, and that is going to retire the side. An easy 1-2-3 inning. Ian doesn't have a microphone. That's the issue, Sid.
Unless
do. He has one.
Here, I can move my. I'm not at home. I work a lot on business, so I travel a bunch. So
he does.
If I'm home, I can use my mic. Otherwise, no. So right now, I'm in Detroit this week. So.
Yeah, I can't really do much.
No, you can't. But when I'm home, I will. I told him I'll get him a nice one where I got my nice mic set up and everything, and yeah.
Don't get so close to the camera, and don't listen to Flick of the Switch. He's just he's Flick of the Switch. He always jokes.
You
always live and die with your stars. I mean, that's what the Mariners have been doing. Bullpen is horrible. Absolutely, they are.
Yeah, they're not great. The bullpen's been horrible today.
They really have. Yeah, see, I told you, Flick of the Switch is a messer.
Yeah, he's always got some hot takes. I find it funny.
He's got a hot take, and Jared's certainly got hot takes in life. I'll say that.
Yeah, Jared's life takes are kind of wild, not gonna lie.
I mean, it's wild for YouTube standards. Let's just be clear. It's wild but hey, I ain't the community standards police.
Yeah, there you go.
But there are YouTube channels I do see where they're like, here are the community guidelines. You can't do this, you can't do that, and you can't do that. It's like, what? We can't comment?
Censorship, and that is what America's built out of these days, unfortunately.
Unfortunately. Why are the Mariners like this? Because their offense is...
Because we had a horrible hitting coach for the entire part of the year that's taken away everything good about the Mariners. And trying to put one in, it's not like you can just turn it around. You have to change your mechanics, and it messes with a lot of guys' heads, and that's baseball.
It is baseball. And look at those jack-in-the-box things. They're really trying to innovate their way out of things. I mean, look at McDonald's. Their menus has been relatively the same for years.
Yeah, those crab sandwiches, though, let me tell you, they are really good, but they're way overpriced in Seattle. Just to show a fact here, what's funny, it's $23 for a single crab sandwich at the Mariners game. You go to the Giants game, you can get 2 for $20. Now, please explain to me, how come the Mariners are driving the price through the roof, and I can go to the Giants games and get 2 for the price of 1?
You know what? That's price gouging. The
Tear
1-0.
it down.
It's gonna be a 1-1, and Colin Snyder's out in from the pen, which I don't blame the decision because Chargois gave up the home run. And even if he did get out of the inning, they're still gonna do this because it's typical practice in Major League Baseball.
Mm-hmm.
And now the pitch. Oh, and a fly ball to left field. And that is gone. And if only the Mariners traded for Yandy Diaz, that doesn't happen. It's still a 2-1 game, maybe a 2-2 game because maybe Yandy Diaz hits a home run for that Mariners. And now I'm just at a loss of words. I'm like, this is all I can do. Oh, actually, I have an even better reaction to that home run. Like Randy Arozarena didn't like run for. He's like, yep, that baby's gone.
Yep, that's what he did.
He just crossed his arms and like didn't even. He went and he's like, nope, that's gone.
Yeah, I bet he's kicking himself for being on the Mariners right now.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's like you can't even knock Dan Wilson for putting in. I mean, like Colin Snyder. It's like it's just the offense is a stink hole, and when you have games like this, it's only a matter of time that the pitching, like you can only pitch perfect baseball for so long. I mean, look, you started losing it too.
It's not even the pitching here. It's we can't score, and so every time you see a run give up, we think it's more because of the detriment to saying we really don't have an offense.
They really don't, and the pitch. And it's not like you can flick the switch at any time. Like they maybe, I mean, the Giants games, they got out at literally the skin of their teeth.
It did. It did. I turned my volume on my mic up. Maybe you can actually hear me better now.
I hear you much better. And a swing and a miss, strike 3, and down he goes. And Colin Snyder gets his strikeout.
See,
it's debatable. Like even if Scott Service did it, maybe I would have given him crap just because, but
I really don't. I mean, Dan actually caught. Dan knows what he's doing. Logan wasn't rolling. That last inning, he was struggling a bit, and you could tell the command wasn't there. And I'm telling both of these home runs, if you're watching the game, they're a mistake pitch, but it's not like they're throwing them down the middle with heaters. They're good pitches. They're just getting hit. I mean, I don't think that Logan would throw anything different in that count.
The whole Dan Wilson thing makes it really hard to criticize him, but I have criticized him. Like I've criticized him for putting in Randy Arozarena as a cleanup, and I'm still doing that. The 1-1.
Right.
And that is a strike too. I mean, there's probably times we've criticized Lou Piniella at times, so it's not like everyone's free. No one's perfect.
I think his lineup, as you said, we've talked privately about it, definitely could be better. I can't.
And a fly ball, line drive, and that's going to be a base hit, and you can just feel that it feels pretty much lifeless right now.
It does. I just don't know how you justify putting Dominic Canzone in a starting lineup in the major leagues. I don't see it.
You just can't. Yep, Jared, I know. I get it. 90s baseball. Logan Gilbert still pitches that 7th inning. I know. I get it. But it just never will happen.
I mean,
but maybe Dan Wilson should figure it out. But he wasn't dominating. That was the problem.
You know, what's funny that he brings that. I mean, I don't know if Jared, if you've ever coached. I coach a select team, and yes, you're true if the starter's hot, but you got to understand when these guys' arms go, they get worse. And while you can criticize the bullpen today, the bullpen's not picking it up. Any other night when they're hot, you're not going to be saying the same thing about Dan. And it's not like he's given up a bunch of hits. These pitchers, they've given up a ball for a home run. And it's the same thing. I'll get back to Castillo the other day. Castillo is getting, I don't care that he gets 8 strikeouts and gives up 4 runs.
We got a strike 3 called.
Those 4 home runs are all 4, like they were crushed. There's a difference between getting hit hard and giving up hits, and he gets hit hard, and that's a problem. So,
yeah. And Jared, like, they're just never going to go back. It's never going to go back. It sucks that they will not go back to the 100+ starters if he's wheeling and dealing. Woo. It just won't happen. And that is a strike to Caballero. as we were looking at a 3-1 game, and the Mariners have got to figure out a way to win this game.
That pitch to Morel, I'm a little bit behind. That's why I'm not saying much. But no,
That's why you're the killer guy.
Yeah, well, that's
why swing and a miss, strike 2.
That strike was so bad. He did not like that one, and
if there was not such of a difference between the starters and the bullpen, I can understand. You know what? We all have our opinions, and it's okay because it just keeps a conversation rolling. Not so much of like, I disagree with you. Blocked. No, I don't do that.
No. And man, this umpire really likes the low zone down there.
Too. And that is low for a ball again.
I have not figured out his zone at all, coming from a catcher, and I've umped a bit. Dude, the way he's calling these outside pitches, it just must be where he's lined up, because I wouldn't be calling these strikes.
Jared said if they had the balls, the manager now don't have the balls to stand up to these GMs. I mean, there is truth to that. The 1-2. And the ground ball right to Colin Snyder. Tossed over the first in time, but the Mariners give up another run once again, and that was to Jose Siri. And we go to the next inning, and it's 3-1 Tampa. And more reactions to this. And by the way, does anyone want to guess where that is from? Which movies? I mean, you know what, Ian, maybe you can take a guess, a stab at it.
I didn't hear it, so I missed it. Sorry.
Oh, here it is.
I know what it's from, and I can't.
If someone in the comments help, maybe even some of you 90s fools would know. Oh, come on. You guys got to know this. It was a fantastic movie. And let's just say the movie would not exist in today's standards because
that wouldn't exist. I can't picture it, but I know what you're.
Horrible Bosses 2 would not even make it. Horrible Bosses 2, I think, was the last movie that was allowed to have those kind of jokes without any repercussions. Wizard of Oz? No.
What was it?
You know what? I'll show another version of it.
Okay.
Where is it? I kind of lost it. I had it. Let's find out. Okay, how about the hint? The movie is a comedy movie from 1997.
Who's the major actors in it?
Mike Myers, and I think that just gave away the entire thing.
That's what it's from. It's from Goldfinger, or whatever that thing is. It's his.
No, well, it would have been Goldmember, but it was Austin Powers' International Man of Mystery.
I knew it was an Austin Powers movie. That's right.
Yeah, the guy waited so long, and then he got squished to death.
Yeah.
Yep, Steven Diaz said it. Austin Powers, probably one of the best comedy movies ever happened. Since when our society becomes so censored? Around 2015 was when it started.
Yeah, I mean, you can't make movies like they used to, which is sad because, well, actually, funny fact out here. So in the Detroit theater, they're showing it's a Western movie that I'm just shocked that they could even be allowed to show again. It was like one of the most raunchy, just the portrayal of people and colors and races. Just Blazing Saddles. How they could put that
for a ball 2-0. Yeah.
Like,
they don't allow anything anymore.
No, they don't.
Half the Disney movies wouldn't even make it to today's cut.
They don't. What about their famous one that they censored, Splash Mountain, completely out of Disney because it was
3-0. Dylan Moore's on a 3-0 count. I hope he can. You know, I would hit the red light. I'm hitting the red light on this one.
That's what I do.
As we are looking at the pitch. And, that's a strike. And just barely.
Still hold the 3. I'd still hold the red. I'd make him pitch.
You still hold the red, huh?
Demo is just not hitting good enough for me to say, here's your green light, son. Go out.
And the pitch. And that was a strike. That was his pitch to swing, too.
Did he hold?
He did hold. He held as if you were not supposed to hold on the stock market, knowing that it could crash. And that's exactly what he did. Now he's crashing. Now the stocks are going down.
Oh, well.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep.
And now here's the pitch. And it's ball. No! The umpire tricked me again, and that is strike 3.
Well, way to waste a 3.
Who does number 2 work for? Yeah, that's right. You show those two who's boss. Aw, jeez, man. What did you eat?
That was not. Oh, that's such a bad call.
It was a horrible call.
Call that.
We need a Dan Wilson on that. Dan Wilson's like, hey, what's up, man? And then gets ejected. We need that right now.
Yeah, where's that little Lou fire drop throw?
Come on, Dan Wilson. You had some Lou in you. You're a Lou understudy, the 1-0. And that is low for a ball, and that is a 1-1 count.
Well, at least we're getting to the top of our order for the 9th, which is, I guess, what you need, but
is it going to matter?
Probably not.
No. As we are looking at the 2-0 and the pitch. Outside for a ball, and I think we've seen this cycle before. It's a 3-0 count, then he's going to strike out somehow, some way. How? I don't know.
See the disappointment in Edgar and Dan's faces right now when they pan to him, and Perry
Pretty
held
much. 3-0. And this time it's ball 4, take your base. There's no way you could call a strike 3 on that.
We should be having 2 men on base right now, though. And it
You really should. It would be Victor Robles to be the hero, possibly.
Well, this is the 8th, so yeah, I mean, give us the lead, and hopefully Munoz could come in and shut it down.
Yeah, it looks like we got a pitching coach. You know what he's saying? Hey, calm down. It's the Mariners. They suck. You got this. That's what he's saying to them right now.
He's actually out there saying, hey, guys, what did you have to eat last night? Because whatever it is, you're literally garbage out here. You know what's fun is going out there when you talk to the pitcher and you completely take their mind off the game. You talk about something completely different, and it is so funny to watch them react because they think you're going out to talk about the game, and then you just trick them, and it's fun.
That's what Joe Montana did against the Bengals in the Super Bowl. The Bengals player, the Niners players were like all uptight, and then Joe Montana's like, "Hey, you see that hot chick with her tank top?" Yeah. The pitch, and now here's a bunt, and that may not be and that is gonna do it. And we got runners on first and second. We got the tying run at first base on a bunt by Victor Robles, and now this is where you can see the Dan Wilson flair.
That was a great bunt. That's executed well.
You know, if Scott Service was the manager, that does not happen.
No, it doesn't, and he doesn't make the play. And what I loved about that is that first base grabbed it and looked at second. He never even thought about trying to go to first, so that was a great play there by Robles. And Dan Wilson and Edgar, I love that. See, they're making the game go in motion, which if Scott was there, he'd have been like, hey, Robe, how about swing for the fence? I need a 2-run shot.
No, it's like this. Hey, Robles, just try to go swing for the fences, all right? That's what he was.
If you strike out, I'm still going to touch your butt, smack you right in the butt.
And now here's a fly ball to right field, and the throw to second. Oh, no, but Julio was not Coolio on that. At 1 second, you thought that was maybe going to have some distance just by the camera angle.
Hey, man, the camera.
That's the difference. For me, I can't. It's really hard to tell by TV, but when someone like calling the Oakland game, she's in the freaking stadium and she doesn't even know what's going on.
No, she doesn't. Well, you know, Julio, we didn't need him. Cal will deliver here, hopefully.
Yeah, and here is the pitch. And that is a strike. And we're already wasting through the top part of the lineup right now, unfortunately, with 2 outs.
Our best hitter on deck, Randy Arozarena.
And he's terrible with runners in scoring position.
Yep.
And the pitch. And now here's a line drive, and that is going to get in the gap for a base hit. That should score at least 1 run, and the Mariners will get within run on an RBI by Cal Raleigh.
It's a good piece of hitting right there, Cal.
Yep, 3-2, and they're holding it to within 1, and now it's up to Randy Arozarena to be the hero. Can he do it again? Remains to be seen. Nice piece of hitting by Cal Raleigh, and he has a career high 80 RBIs this season. I was hoping that it would have gotten to the gap, so maybe Robles could have scored from first base, but he didn't really have, there was not much to work with there, but it was enough for Leo Rivas to score. And had Dylan Moore not strike out on a controversial call, maybe. Yeah, maybe. Oh, and it's time to show my Austin Powers rendition of the Mariners meltdown from last week. Here it is.
They're coming!
Hang on, I'm gonna floor it! Watch out! Move! Move! Move!
Careful, Austin! Watch out!
Watch out!
Watch out!
Oh, let's go! Come on, let's go!
I had way too much fun making that.
I don't think you understand how upsetting that is.
I also made the Order 66 version video of the Mariners meltdown of last year, where Dusty Baker was the Emperor going, execute Order 66. And they show some like highlight of the Mariners screwing up.
That's great. That's comedy gold there.
Yep. And I got a lot of comments from Astro fans. They all laughed their butts off.
Yeah, well, Astro fans, you know what? They can't stand them, really. I mean, you can't tell me you can ever justify cheating, and that's what all of them did. Yeah, J-Rod is no A-Rod. The fact that you even uttered A-Rod's name with J-Rod is disgusting to me. One actually is worth the $250 million we didn't pay him, and the other one is not.
I know.
I can't believe.
I mean, J-Rod got the A-Rod flashy part, but he didn't necessarily get his baseball skills, so he implemented the wrong part of the A-Rod.
J-Rod got all the publicity A-Rod should have been having in Seattle, but he didn't quite get the hitting part or the... He can field good, but I still think A-Rod was a way better fielder than J-Rod.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's a way better player. I mean, there's no question about it. Some would even say that A-Rod actually competed against Ken Griffey Jr. as the best player in baseball, the 0-1. And a swing and a miss, and that's going to be strike 2. And Randy Arozarena is already down to 2 strikes. People make way too much of the trash cans. You know, I agree with that, Jared. I actually do. You got to still hit the dang ball. And the 0-2. And strike 3. And this time I didn't fall for it because the umpire's like this. The umpire's like, he's like the sloth from Zootopia calling outs. That's him.
Randy, I don't even know what he's looking at. I can't justify his swing at all anymore.
Jared says the Astros were the better team and AJ Hinch completely outmanaged Roberts. That is actually 100% true. And the other thing was, if those trash can things 100% worked, then Boston Astros wouldn't have lost to the Nationals. So there's truth to that. Steven Diaz has 2 bad calls. I mean, there was, but the Mariners still have to hit the ball, and they haven't.
It's the alarming numbers they had. It's not about that. It's the fact that they knew they were cheating and they wouldn't admit to the fact that they were cheating. Yes, you have to hit the ball, but the same argument can be made for steroids. And then steroids aren't bad because you still have to hit the ball. Bonds, A-Rod, everyone who was good who was on steroids, like, it's just the principle of it. And if we're going off of Major League Baseball banning or not banning, then it's the same thing like Pete Rose. Well, Pete only gambled and did it as a manager. He really wasn't, at least he wasn't caught or suspected while he played. So then you enter this what if kind of a big ordeal. Well, so then are we going to punish these guys as players, or do we punish them for this season only? Like, it just becomes a big what if. And MLB doesn't have in my opinion, the balls to stand up and say Pete was banned from the game, at least for his lack of honesty with the gambling as a manager. The Astros players should be at least suspended for so many games for cheating. The same thing could be said about the steroids. They're not going to be in the Hall of Fame for this. Or do we let them in as players, but we do not let them in as in, like, we put an asterisk next to them going in because of this. They had aid. It's all up in the air. But I mean, I think the steroids should be in the Hall of Fame. I think Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame. What I disagree with, I think that the records and everything, as far as home runs and everything, should not be counted. Hank Aaron's the home run king. Bonds can be up there with an asterisk, but they still did use performance enhancers because I think Bonds and A-Rod would have been just good without it.
And now the pitch, and that is outside for a ball. And that is Troy Taylor on the bullpen. I mean, you do have some points. I guarantee the Astros would have not released Trevor Bauer. Did they ever have Trevor Bauer? And the pitch. And that is a strike. And, that's who the Mariners could use. They could use a Trevor Bauer, but they're not going to because they don't want the PR nightmare.
We're not going to talk about A-Rod not having 700 home runs. I think the Yankees did him dirty in 2016. He should have finished that season. He at least would have hit 4. But if you want to go through his career, he was robbed an alarming 17 home runs taken away from A-Rod in his career.
How is that possible?
People at the fielding pulling him down, catching him. All fielder robbed.
I guess so. And that is a 2-2 count. I mean, yeah, most of us will be fine with Bauer. I mean, Bauer's cheap. That's the other thing. It'd be very ownership money friendly. The 2-2. And strike 3 called. And this umpire is probably I said CB Bucknor was a weird umpire, but this is an even weirder umpire.
He makes some very interesting calls. T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest network.
I have T-Mobile. And that was a nice fastball. That had a really nice spin.
This guy has a very angry face. Taylor Walls.
He does. You mean Troy Taylor?
Yeah, that's right.
The pitch. Outside for a ball. Miller for Trout. I mean, Trout's pretty much broken, unfortunately, at this point.
I wouldn't want Trout.
Trout is broken. Mariners' problem isn't their starting pitching, obviously. But the thing is, maybe you could leverage someone into the bullpen, and now we got a fly ball popped up, and could that be playable? And Dylan Moore makes the catch, and that is going to be 2 down.
I hope we can squeak out another run in the bottom and get something going. I mean...
I love this. I like the second half of the comment. I have to at least show it. And don't get me wrong, Sue Bird is a fantastic athlete. She is obviously one of the greats in Seattle sports. I have to give her that. But not the influential. Ken Griffey Jr., Russell Wilson, Marshawn Lynch. Sorry, Sue Bird. Gary Payton, Sean Kemp.
And
I was watching Storm games before he was. I was actually a season ticket holder of the Storm at one point.
The Storm, I think what's going to do her in is who she hangs out with now and is around the Megan Rapinoe whole thing. I think that discredits Sue's carrying of Seattle sports.
Oh, you think so, huh?
Just Megan Rapinoe said some pretty interesting...
Man, all these comments on the Peoples. Woo!
Megan Rapinoe said some stuff that she should not have said, and Sue Bird didn't make a stand, and I think that's where she gets it. But no, I don't think she's anywhere close. I don't even think Griffey should be the staple of Seattle sports.
Who do you think is a staple?
Yeah, he is, but I don't think he is the number one. I mean, it's a toss-up. There's been so many, and we can't even discredit the Sounders. I mean, Clint Dempsey was here. A bunch of guys have been, like, every sport has had someone amazing.
The 1-2. And now that's popped up, and that should be playable. And it's going to be. Justin Turner makes the catch, but the Mariners got a lot of work to do. They got to make up for a freaking run. How hard could this be with Polanco, Turner, and Haniger? I think what you should do is, I think you got to pinch hit Luke Raley. I think Luke Raley's got to go in for one of those guys, either Turner or Haniger. I'm on the edge of keeping Haniger because he's somewhat clutch. So I think what I'm going to do here, especially if it's a righty that is pitching in the bullpen, I think Luke Raley should be a pinch hitter for one of these guys.
That's it. Yeah.
And interestingly, they're still showing a Ty France commercial with Luis Castillo.
I agree with you there. What's funny is this guy just said the Legion of Boom. If we're going to go off of football stuff, what about Matt Hasselbeck, Sean Alexander, another era of Seahawks football that was quite very good. That was very impactful. you know, if I'm going to say if anyone in the town of Seattle, yes, Griffey's probably one of the up there. Sue Bird, obviously. But I mean, that's really funny. They're showing Ty Francis commercial.
Jared, you think he's a bigger bust than Brian Bosworth?
Who?
J-Rod.
No, Brian Bosworth's going to take the cake, man. That dude, although his documentary was amazing.
It was really good.
Like, actually had something wrong up there. But you know what I find sad is that, like, in there, it just, the way he treated his son, I thought he was a dick. I was like, his son wants to get to know his dad, wants to know why his dad has all this hype. And he's out here saying, you don't want to be like this. You don't get to wear that shirt out. You don't get to, like, you're the guy who did all this. You made that image of yourself, and now you're going to go back and try to completely deny that you were way overhyped and an asshole?
Do you know what was a really dark documentary? The story of Todd Maranovich was very dark. Daddy raised him to avoid McDonald's to be a football player, and all that deprivation and all that over discipline led, once he got to college and the leash was loose, boy was he a party monster.
Yeah, but man, I will say this. I don't think Boz was a bust because of the way he played. I think he was arguably one of the greatest college football players ever. I think what let him down is when he got in the league, he, again, did not take care of his body, and he got beat up. He took some pretty hard shots, especially Bo Jackson
Bo Jackson.
That man.
Bangs through Bosworth. That's a touchdown.
Like,
And now here is Jorge Polanco. And yeah, Rick Myers, he's in the conversation too, in the pitch. And the fun fact is, even if the Seahawks had the #1 pick, which was owned by the Patriots, which got Drew Bledsoe, Seahawks still would have drafted Rick Meyer in the #1. They wanted the Notre Dame prodigy, the 1-0. And that is a strike. Because they fell for the Bill Walsh saying, Rick Meyer is the next Joe Montana. Eee.
He was not.
Kevin Kirby, what about Ryan Leaf? Do you think he's one of the bigger busts too?
Yeah, he is, actually. He's one of the
I think he should be #1 because Jamarcus Russell already had red flags, the 1-1. And now here's a fly ball to right field, and that's going to be caught.
No, it for sure is Ryan Leaf. In fact, you said that. I think I have a book on Ryan Leaf here, too. I was reading that the other day.
He was, I mean, don't get me wrong. That guy was talented. I think he's probably one of the more talented busts that I have seen. The 596 switch, huh?
Yeah, you should read it sometime. It's interesting how Leaf's trying to justify him being a bust.
The pitch. Yeah, Ryan Leaf is trying really hard to be that cautionary tale. Like, he's even being a cautionary tale for himself. Like, he's probably telling people to, like, hey, don't make the same mistakes I made. Like, he probably tried to tell Manziel, but
Dude, Johnny, I think there's a lot of things with Manziel. I don't agree that he was that bad. In the pros, yes. I just don't think he was.
He was overhyped.
Everyone who's amazing in college, like that kind of stardom,
1-1.
They're not ready.
And that's a 1-2. No, I thought Manziel was going to be a bust. I really did. And some people said that he was a first round pick with 7th round talent.
Yep.
And the way he was running in college, like, he could not do that in the pros. The 1-2. And now here's a fly ball to deep right center field. And that is going to be, of course, it's caught by Jose Siri. And he takes that bow, and we got 2 outs. And we got Mitch Haniger up to the plate, but I don't know if there's a clutch bat and Mitch Haniger left for this one.
Mitch, we need a little shot.
Just need let it loose.
They are this inning. They're not trying to play small ball. They're trying to play hero ball.
They're trying to play the long ball. They're playing with desperation.
Man, if they only run into each other on that last one.
Mitch Haniger up to the plate, and now here's a ground ball, and that's actually going to get through for a base hit. And I would wonder if they're going to pinch run Haniger, maybe put in Luke Raley in there as the pinch runner. I would do that.
Do we have Bliss?
No, Bliss is not called up. But I think that maybe they will, maybe they won't. I don't know what they're going to do with Mitch Haniger, but I think they should pinch run for Luke Raley.
Yeah, it was a good piece of hitting there by Mitch. 2 outs, so what, Mariners? Come on now. Give me something.
Let's get within 2.5. Let's not stay in the 3.5. That's lame.
Yeah, I'd rather not be 3.5 back. I'd be pissed.
Yeah, come on.
Be back, not 3.5, but yes.
Wait, it'd be 3.5?
It should be 3.
No, it's 3. It's only 3 because Houston lost. So if Mariners lose, it's back to 3.5.
That's right. That's right.
And yep, I was correct. Josh Rojas is going to be the pinch runner, and I did call it that Luke Raley was going to take over at some point, and I wonder who he took over for. He took over for Dylan Moore, as he should, and this is a chance for him to be the hero. And now here's the pitch, and that was right in there for a strike. It was a little bit on the inside. Maybe Luke Raley didn't like that, but it's only 2 strikes away until this ball game is over. Luke Raley, 235 with 16 home runs. He's had some clutch hits this season. And now the 0-1. And that is up high for a ball, 1-1. Johnny Football probably had one of the best careers off the field. Wow, that's gold.
He did.
And now we're looking at the 1-1. And now the pitch. And that is outside for a ball, 2-2. And Luke Raley's trying to be patient on this one.
Waiting for his
You got some wheels, and you got some wheels on first base with Josh Rojas. Luke Raley's got to extend this inning, and we're looking at the 2-1 for Luke Raley. And now here's the pitch, and now here's a fly ball and fouled, and it's game time. It's 2-2.
That did look good.
And I think that may have taken his confidence away. Like, he had it, and it looked really promising. It was a nice, beautiful swing, but it was too much on the inside. And the 2-2. And a swing and a miss, strike 3, and the ball game is over. Houston gave the Mariners a chance to make it a 2.5, and the Mariners completely squandered it. Bad offense, and eventually bullpen meltdown once again, just like the 97 Mariners. And now it's back to normal, where it is a 3.5 game deficit, and the Mariners have got to figure out a way to close this series. And you know what? I gotta take a bathroom break, and you know what? Maybe I'll show that video again. So give me a few.
They're coming!
Hang on, I'm gonna floor it! Watch out! Move! Move! Move!
Careful, Austin! Watch out!
Watch out!
Watch out!
Oh, let's go! Come on, let's go!
Ah, where'd you go, Ian? Oh, there you are.
I'm still in.
Okay, let's take a look at some of these comments. All football comments. Who really cares at this point? Oh, but Earl Thomas, remember how he said goodbye to the Seahawks? The middle finger.
You did.
And he sure did. That was pretty dark.
Yeah. Not much. I don't know. It's another game where we couldn't hit. And I don't think this is a coaching issue or anything on Edgar or anything. When you have opportunities to drive and run like Luke Raley there, and yes, he missed his pitch. If he hit that and didn't pull so hard, maybe home run, maybe single, whatever. It's more the fact that we had runners on in certain situations, and like Randy shouldn't be in the 4-hole. He can't hit. He cannot. He's not driving in runs. He's cool. If Randy's gonna play every day, he needs to be in the 7 or 8 hole, in my opinion, until he can prove he can hit. I would move Cal Raleigh to the 4. I would put Rayleigh or someone if they're in the 3. Keep Julio at 2. I don't even know who I would have lead off on this team. Truthfully, I don't see that we have a lead off.
Luke Raley is probably the best qualified right now at this time.
He is, and then heck, I mean, it's just the lineups. I'm just not seeing it, and it's a dead offense. I don't know what to say. Pitching wise, everybody has a bad night. The bullpen, this was not their night. The offense did nothing to support that, and they
I mean, the bullpen was they were before this game, and people may it's easy to forget. Bullpen actually did their part throughout that Giants series. They were lights out throughout that entire series, with the exception of maybe Sunday when things got shaky. But that was it. I mean, yeah, that was it. But they didn't. Bullpen wasn't their night, and
series tomorrow, and they need to win it.
They got to win it.
These times the Astros are giving you wins. You just can't sit back and do nothing.
And that's exactly what they did. They sat on their butts.
My opinion is if we don't come into the Astros series at either 3 games back or 2 games back, it's over. The season is over. Because when we need to play them, we need to have the maximum amount of games back be the same as how many we get to play the Astros. Because that's your only chance. Because the way we play has been we'll win one, we'll lose one, we win one, we lose one. You can't sustainably win on that, especially when the Astros are winning 3 and then losing 2. You need to win.
You absolutely have to win.
And
I shall take a look. And the other thing I'm waiting on is Dan Wilson and his post-game show, because I'll be very curious of what he's got to say. But it feels like Scott Soros would be like, oh, yeah, things just didn't go away. Got to give the other team credit. And the next pitcher is going to be undecided, so maybe Tampa is going to have a bullpen day. But the problem is Luis Castillo is pitching, and you usually don't feel good about that when Castillo is pitching, especially when its ERA is getting up to in the mid 3s. He's in 366. Yeah, that's good for maybe other teams, but for our standards, that's not good.
Someone just said in your comments, JP should not be leadoff. JP had a good year last year. Everyone bought into it. I did not. I said this. Oops, my bad. I said this was going to happen, and it has. He's fallen apart and he can't hit. And honestly, this is going to be.
He has fallen apart.
I would put Julio in the leadoff because he can't hit anyways. So it's not like we're losing a bat. I would put keep Cal at 3. I would put, depending on the night, Rayleigh at 2. So basically, Rayleigh's your leadoff, and your first hitter is just a big name. I would put Cal at 3. I'd put Justin Turner or Justin Turner or Rojas at 4, because we are not hitting, and not because Rojas can hit, because Rojas has shown some life here and there. And then I'd put Randy or anyone else at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, because we don't have a staple. Cal is a 3-4 hitter. Julio, if he could play, is a 2-3 hitter. And if JP actually did what he did, he's a leadoff. But we really don't have, and this is my issue with the Mariners right here. We have a bunch of guys who would not be starting on other teams. We don't have a true 4, except for Cal. We don't have a 5. Mitch was when he played back in the day, just like Seager was at the end of his career. Those are 5 hitters. Somebody who could drive in runs sometimes, but ultimately doesn't always come through. And then, you got Randy Arozarena, who, if he's playing good, should also be a 2, 3, or 4. It's just, we don't have the luxury right now.
We don't. And you know what? I've always complained about Julio being a leadoff, but it sounds like it's not a bad idea anymore. But the thing is, he doesn't walk enough to justify. That's the problem. He strikes out way too much. So I would agree with you, but if it was 2022 or at least 23, then maybe.
I don't know. Maybe putting him in the leadoff would give him, even more of an ego. Maybe he'd try a little bit more. I don't know. It's just at this point, just like we talked about on the other show, before Service had gotten fired, I still say we bring up the youth, we pull some of these guys out, and we say we are still playing for the season, but we're trying to get a consistency on our hitting. Because, in my opinion, the GM's out. Jerry's done after this season. We will get a new GM. I think that they will at least have to deal with Dan for 1 year. Based on that, they may let Dan go, may not. Depending on we win, we'll retain Egger. I think this offseason we go and make moves offensively. I think the ownership may even relax the spending bill and let them spend because I think they want to win. And I think they need to go out and get a third baseman. Even if they trade, sign, whatever, they need to go out and get one. One that's not happy right now. I mean, Arenado's at the end of his career, but he still puts up big numbers. You could go out to the Cardinals, trade or get him. Sign Machado. Machado's not happy down there in San Diego. Get somebody.
San Diego?
Isn't he in San Diego?
Manny Machado, right?
Yeah.
He's in San Diego, but let me see what his contract is.
This is
because he still might. Because he did sign a pretty heavy one, and he's up on age at 32.
Yeah,
he's still hitting at a pretty high level.
Saying the management would allow for spending.
Oh, he's a long ways out.
What's he at?
2034. He is 10 years from now. He signed a 14-year contract. He's not going anywhere.
Well, then I guess if he's out, what is Matt Chapman's looking at right now?
Matt Chapman, they should have from last season. If they're gonna, they should have make up for the Eugenio Suarez. And also, by the way, I just put in the link to that. If you want to join the show and express your thoughts, go ahead. Theo Epstein, yes, that's in a perfect world. The Mariners would do that, but they won't do it. They're not going to, unfortunately. I hate to say it, but I am for it.
I mean, we need a third baseman, and then we need to go out and look and get a second baseman and a shortstop too. And if you can fill those three positions, we could probably do something.
How much do the Mariners miss Ketel Marte? I mean,
yeah. See, before you get on your roll here, Ketel Marte was poo-poo, and we got rid of him.
Dan Wilson. Dan Wilson's on.
Pitched a good ball game early. He had a good game plan against us and really had an outstanding changeup. I thought he mixed in his slider really well too. And it was he was tough for 5 innings, couldn't get anything going. And then I thought Victor really ignited things. He's an exciting player. It's great to have him back in the lineup and causing some havoc, using his legs and getting us on top. And then a couple late inning homers, just weren't able to overcome it. But Logan threw the ball tremendous. That's what Logan does. Continues to mix. He used it all. Was in control. And then again, we've seen such good at bats later in the game, and a chance to come back and almost tie this thing. And they fought. They keep fighting till the end. And what more can you ask for? These guys are really, really battling in there.
Yeah, it seemed like Springs did come into the zone a fair bit, but just like with the changeup and slider combination, how was he able to keep you guys on balance?
Yeah, he had a really good changeup. I think the thing that was key for him was he's able to control that outside part of the plate with the changeup. He had good command of it out there, and that's a tough pitch when you can command the outside corner with it. And I thought then he was able to use the slider sparingly as well and just keep us off stride. I thought he kept us off guard pretty well, and I think stuck to their game plan, and we just weren't able to get anything barreled up at that point.
He doesn't throw it super hard. I think it was low 90s for most of the night, but just the way he's able to mix in the secondaries, how much does that keep it in?
I mean, it's one of those tough at bats. If he can command the outside corner with that changeup and then speed you up inside with either the slider or the fastball, doesn't have to be all that hard. It just speeds you up enough, and then it's hard to stay on that changeup. But again, I thought he pitched pretty well, but we really battled towards the end, and it was a fight till the end, no doubt.
I feel like there was a shift in approach as the game went on, that you guys were putting together a little bit more stingy at bats maybe once you got out of the game.
Yeah, I mean, he was a tough customer, no doubt, and then we were able to get into the bullpen a little bit, and after you see a guy like that, the guys that come in seem a little bit more usual in some ways, right? So I think that the guys were getting to more pitches and trying to use the middle of the field again, like we've been talking about. And I thought late in the game really gave us a chance to either tie it or win it. And they kept battling all the way to that last pitch.
Again, what you see from Logan in terms of just the bounce back, a tough outing in LA, it just looked like he walked out focused from the very first pitch.
Yeah, he was locked tonight. No doubt. I thought his fastball was outstanding. He used it all like he normally does. I thought he and Cal were on the same page pretty much all night and worked really well together. But there was a different look, I think, in Logan's eye tonight, and that big punch out there in the sixth. And I thought he was still. It was the vintage Logan, I thought, and that was great to see, bouncing back tonight and giving us that kind of outing.
Stuff that there were a couple, like 2 or 3 at bats that kind of strung his pitch count out just enough where you couldn't really go back for this.
Yeah, no doubt. They're a similar team. They're going to battle. They're going to scratch and claw too. And they did have a couple at bats that pulled his pitch count a little bit longer. I think I remember Caballero coming up with a long at bat, and that. It can hurt the pitch count a little bit, but obviously just a great night for Logan for 6 innings and really kept us in this one.
Siri, he was in Mariners camp briefly. He's a very talented guy, but very unpredictable. It's like it can be all or nothing. It just one pitch and kind of was almost just thrown in his bat path.
Yeah, it was a tough break right there after getting ahead, but. I thought earlier in the ball game that probably doesn't go out of the ballpark because it was a little bit more windy. But credit our guys. We tried to bounce back and we gave them all they could handle.
The two very similar teams, as we talked about.
Well, that's the press conference from Dan Wilson. And any takeaway from that? My first one is those questions were softball. They were softer than a baby's butt.
They're soft question. Okay, and how much I love Dan Wilson. I thought that was a shit press conference. I thought he gave them nothing and just was kind of just trying to make up for the fact that we could not fucking hit. And that needs to be the emphasis right there. It wasn't that he had that great of stuff. He had a good game pitching. We just could not get on. We couldn't get a run. We couldn't buy a run to save our life. And just what we were doing in counts was, in my opinion, bad. As far as him defending Gilbert, right there, he just said it to all the viewers who are still watching. He ran his good 6. That's all Dan was comfortable with. He was not going to throw him out there another inning. So, again, bullpen, you get hit. Siri, I don't know if I agree with the wind. I don't think the wind was stopping that ball. I think that was hit, and he got all of it. I think ultimately you're just not going to have that kind of – it's a bad night, bad pitch. You live to fight the next day. But I do agree that I like how he attacks the press conferences and comes out here. I do like that he's willing to give honest answers. But, again, if you give him soft questions, he's going to give soft answers. And I think that's just because they've been used to dealing with Scott all the season, who can't be honest with people. But
it's the Seattle media way. They've been doing that. They've been doing this the entire time since its existence.
And then your comment there, we do need 7. We need to go in and sweep the Angels and sweep the Yankees.
But let me go back to. Have you noticed that KJR, that softies in, they have not been allowed in a press conference in a Mariners press conference for years. Yep. And there's a reason for it, because KJR is not afraid to speak their mind. There's a reason why Ryan Divish, he hasn't been on a KJR show for years, because Mariners are obviously trying to protect their image. So tough questions will never, ever happen, unfortunately.
Even if they were allowed in, I don't think they would call on them. I don't think they'd give them the time of day. It's frustrating for me because, we're hoping we get a hitting turnaround, and I'm just not seeing it yet. Eventually, maybe it will, maybe it won't. But as far as...
James, you're correct. KJR says the truth, and 710 so soft. And what's a huge difference between KJR and 710? I was able to get Jim Moore, formerly of KJR, and Softy of KJR on my show. And 710's, Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah, I mean, that's funny. The same guy commented about not being able to hit 3 hard ground balls. It's true. If you can't hit, you can't. Now we had again I think the more see, and this is my issue right here, which is going to take a second to explain. Moore got called out on a pitch that should have been ball 4. This game may be tied, maybe a different outcome here. The point is we can't be surviving on an umpire's call. We should not be letting the umpire dictate the way we play the game, the outcome. We have to be able to score, and we're just not doing it. Granted, yes, maybe it's a different thing. Maybe we win, maybe we lose. Who knows? Maybe Rayleigh hits that ball square, and we win. Maybe we lose. But we should have had more runs, and it needs to come down to: is Arozarena going to step up in the 4-hole and start hitting, or is he going to leave now? That's 13 men. 13 out of the 16 RBI tries he's had in the last 3 games. He's had 3 out of the 16 he's had. It's insane.
That's why I think that at some point, Dan Wilson, Dan Wilson has to sit him down for at least a game. Like, I'd even take that risk for tomorrow because you're not really losing much with since Randy Rose. And let's be honest, that home run that he hit was a bit lucky. And that really shouldn't have happened. I hate to say it, but it shouldn't have happened. But aside from that one home run he had, he's done absolutely nothing for this team.
He's done poo-poo. Here's a blank question. How many runs do you want a game? Me, honestly,
5 or more.
Yeah, 5 or more. So 5 on the low end. I would, a good ball club, and there's going to be bad nights, but a good ball club should be putting up 6, 7, 8 runs a game, but preferably the number is 5. Now, this club, I expect 1 to 2 a game, and if we're lucky, they might break out and have a 12 spot one day, and then, oh, wow.
Yeah, on the last game of a series that they've already lost.
I want you to know we're still going to lose 15 to 12, but we will put up a 12 spot.
Well, they haven't done that. I don't think they've done anything like that yet, luckily.
No, but see, that would be the case. Our offense would show up, and Castillo would be on the mound and be like, I got you guys, don't worry.
Yeah, I got you guys. I got you for the other team that hit home runs because that's what could happen tomorrow.
And I hate to say it, Luis has a good ERA for what he has been this season, but I don't think he should be in the ace role. I think he should be getting put down to the 5. Not that the matchups are going to matter anymore, but I think that mentality of putting him in the 5-hole may change his outlook on the game, may change his outlook on the season, because at this point, I'm going to be real honest with you. Minus the fact that Snell and Ray pooped the bed, giving the Mariners a chance to win the series, and we still lost game 2. I would trade Luis Castillo for a quality starter.
Well, can you get Luis Castillo? Will that get you a quality starter? Because that might get you maybe a half-butt decent bat.
No, I think we could. I don't think we would even get a bat. I don't think anyone wants him because he's been so unpredictable lately. Maybe a lower team would want him, but I don't think they're going to want to give up someone great. And that's just the heartbreak of it where we are right now.
Bryce Harper says pitching wins championships. Don't agree with that. Look at the Rangers. That Rangers run was a fluke. Like, as much as I shouldn't be saying that because we're Mariner fans that didn't even make the playoffs. Also, everyone in the top seeded, they floundered in the first round. And the Rangers got an easy path to the World Series.
No, the Rangers didn't play anyone good, and the Diamondbacks were certainly not even supposed to be in the World Series. That was a show.
Imagine if the Mariners squeaked one more game and they maybe made a run.
Made the playoffs last year, and we survived the first round. We beat Texas. We go to the World Series, and we probably win the World Series because of how freaking bad the Diamondbacks are.
And yeah, and they're still and yet they're still somehow hanging around, but they are a better team now because they got Suarez. They got Suarez for a bag of chips.
They did. And you know what's sad? Have you seen Suarez's numbers this year?
Yeah, they've been picking up a little bit in the second half.
Yep, second half has looked pretty good, but the first half wasn't. But that second half numbers right now would be great. But like a guy that would be really nice to have Mariners management if you're watching this show, maybe go out and get Trey Turner from the Phillies. I don't care if we give up Castillo. I don't care if we give up the farm system. I don't care about his age. That man is figuring it out and getting on base. Another guy, which I'd be happy to have at second base, Nico Horner from Chicago Cubs. He looks pretty.
They could have gotten. They had a chance,
and we didn't want to go for him. First baseman. Have you looked at Michael Bush of the Chicago Cubs? Both are not on hard contracts. Mariners management.
Also, Trey Turner has a contract till 2034, so that ain't happening.
We paid Cano, pay Turners. We can be stupid again.
Hey, I thought maybe the Mariners should have. I was like, maybe we can get a run for Trey Turner or Xander Bogaerts back in the free agency of 22 or after 22, but Mariners didn't do anything in that free agency.
We didn't get Xander. He's poo-poo. Or a guy like Devers. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of guys on contract, but there's people out there that we could have gotten or made deals for, and we're
could have gotten Vlad Guerrero, and I think that should have been an easy one.
I disagree. I don't like Vlad. I think he's fat. I think he's slow. I don't think he puts in enough for us. And I don't think he comes to this clubhouse and helps. I think he gets angry at Scott Service and management when we would have had him. I think he gets fed up in the fact that we can't win. And I think it just starts drama. Because, I mean, you look at them in Toronto right now. I mean, they're motionless in that dugout. Springer, him, Bo. They're floundering. And what's hilarious is the year they should have killed us. They had Chapman, Teoscar Hernandez, George Springer, Vlad Guerrero, Bo Bichette. They had a team up there. And
21 was their trailer, and 22 was the movie, and the movie turned out to be the Mariners ending, making it a nightmare for them.
And what's hilarious about that game, which if you think back, again, it just we got lucky in those two games. But that game, too, if you remember before the Frazier hit, there was a collision in that outfield.
George Springer.
If did not happen, I think they get the out. I think the Mariners lose. I think that's it. Bye-bye. Sayonara. The Mariners don't. They go on. They play the Astros. I think they could beat the Astros because minus their collapse against us, they didn't collapse late in games, except for that game, obviously, the one that they did. The other two, they played all the way till the very end. The Mariners just had timely hitting. Again, big part of that was a free agent pickup. Carlos Santana, even a guy like that. Just, if you're going to make a run, pick up somebody who's going to give you a bat that's going to at least come through a little bit. And we're not doing it.
Pete Alonso wouldn't have happened because you never want to trade for a Scott Boras client on a rental.
Well, regardless of the fact that he's a Scott Boras client, Pete Alonso, what's he done? What has he done for the Mets in the last 2 years? I haven't looked this up. I'm curious.
I'll look it up. I'll do the fact checking for you because I've been doing all of that, especially with those last two contracts that I was looking at, Manny Machado and Trey Turner. Pete Alonso, who was an all-star, by the way, last year, he had 46 home runs, 118 RBIs, batted .217, though, on a .318 OBP. In this year, 27 home runs, 71 RBIs, 245 on a .332, but the man strikes out an insane amount. If you put him in the Mariners, maybe he does it worse. Who knows?
And that is exactly why I didn't want Pete Alonso. He had an amazing year last year, but he can't get on base and he can't hit for average. He comes here, he's going to be another Ty France with a couple more home runs.
Yippee.
That's the break of it. We honestly need a first base. Yandy Diaz, man hits almost around 300, and he gets his runs, he gets his RBIs. That's the kind of stuff we need. we really don't need flashy. And, you know, the question then becomes for next year, are we trying to win for 2-3 years? Or are we trying, because again, as Flick of the Switch, I think is his name.
Flick of the Switch.
Is he the guy you've had on recently?
No, I've never had him on my show, but I am inviting everyone, like whoever wants to talk about the Mariners, because I'll keep this on for at least 5 minutes. And if anyone has a quick thought on this game, I will welcome the comments. I even put it on my Twitter X to invite people to, if they would like to express their thoughts on the Mariners. Did you hear what Montgomery said about Boris? He said a lot of things about Boris.
I think Swinging for the Fences said something like, we have a 2-3 year window to win. Do we get old players and try to win, or do we get youth and try to do? Because again, contracts are coming up. We're coming to the end of it. What are we going to do? And we are in a win now situation. And I honestly feel like we're actually less of a win now this year than we were last year. Because again, as you said, we got rid of Teo. We got rid of
Suarez. Kelenic.
You know, and what's really pissing me off is they're all having good years, and I don't think it's that they left Seattle. I think coaching, it's the service and that hitting coach that was here. I think they messed with the heads, they messed with the swings to the point where they could not hit. Because
what if they had Dan Wilson early, even a month earlier, if maybe, or what if Scott Service gets fired because of the Yordan Alvarez decision with Robbie Ray? And they put in Dan Wilson for 23.
I think if they do that, Eggers here, I think they make the playoffs 23. I think they make the ALCS. I think they lose in the ALCS depending on who they play, depending on how the playoffs go. If they went like last year, they go to the World Series. I think they make the right thing. They might win a World Series. I think they're coming off that high this year. I think they re-sign guys. I think they add some more. I think they go back-to-back. And then next year, I think they will make it again. I don't know if they'll win the World Series, but they'll make it. And then I think that's their window closing after that. But it's a what if at this point. And at this point, you're sitting there going, what are we going to do? Because we could sweep the Angels, and we can go into Oakland, and it is Oakland. I mean, for all I know, the A's are going to come out and thump us in 4. And that's going to just screw us. Like, maybe I shouldn't overcount the Angels, but I'm more scared of the A's than the Angels.
I'm scared of both of them equally.
I mean, I think we're going to lose.
Angels have seemed to have our number. Oakland kind of has our numbers now. I mean, they got nothing to lose, really.
Well, that's the thing. Oakland got nothing to lose. They're just out there to play. So, that, I mean, a loss. If we win 7 games and come out of that with 7 wins, and Houston, I don't remember.
If they play 500 ball. If they play 500 ball and Houston plays 500 ball and we get 6 of 7 or 7 of 7, it could either be a tie or even a lead. It could happen just like that. But at the same time, Mariners could also be down like 10 by the end of next week.
Well, they're out. If they lose 6 out of the 7, it's over. I don't care what 95 BS people are going to say in the chat. We don't have a 95 squad.
They don't. What do you believe? Well, I would still do that Kelenic trade. I think if Kelenic was handled more appropriately and handled differently, I think it could have worked out. I still think that maybe he's not working with Atlanta, but I don't know. I still was okay with it because they had to get some kind of value out of Cano and Diaz. Because they were blowing it up anyway.
Look at the Switch is so funny, man. Yeah.
What do you believe is more true? The Mariners actually put together a championship team, or the M's managed to completely F it up? That's a very straightforward, simple question. I have a question. What's more likely? The Seattle Supersonics coming back to win a championship, or the Mariners even make it to a World Series?
Actually, the Sonics have been there 3 times and won once.
1978, 79, and 95, 96.
Yeah. And you know what's funny is they should have won in 78. Fun fact, not to get on basketball, but they should have won in 78.
They had a 3-2 lead going home.
They could have won in 96 too. Now it would have been a lot harder, but
I actually do have a video on that whole 96 thing where I said Dennis Rodman should have won the 96 finals MVP. And I'll link that video over. I'm sure you have saw it by now, but it's about if the others have seen it.
Not to get on a basketball tangent, you put Gary Payton on Jordan earlier. I think it's a 3-3 game series, and I think the Bulls still win because the Bulls are the Bulls. But I think it's tied, and I think it gives the Sonics a chance. Again, he shut down Jordan in 2 games, and if you watch The Last Dance, this is going to sound so rude. Jordan's a fucking cunt for what he said. Pardon my language. But what he said was when he didn't get his hand shaken in a restaurant, and after that, I meant business. No, I don't care that George Karl didn't shake your hand in a restaurant in Seattle or acknowledge you. Let's just be real. Because after you made that comment, you went on to lose 2 straight games to the Sonics. It had nothing to do with that.
Yeah. Well, my case is, I think even if you put Peyton on Jordan game 1, I still don't think it would have mattered because Dennis Rodman was very impactful with his defense, foul troubles, and technicals. And I know I would go more about the Sonics, and maybe we will someday on a different show about the NBA, but I want to spend, I've already said 5 minutes ago, like whether I'd not talk about more Mariners, but actually, maybe we should close this unless other people want to come onto this show for a little bit. But any closing thoughts? Like, what are your thoughts on what the Mariners must do tomorrow? Because I think we've already kicked this game like a dead horse.
I'm going to be real. We need to win tomorrow. Castillo needs to go out and give us 7 or 8 quality innings, and we need some runs, preferably 5. And I think we win that game 5-3. Because I honestly think Castillo is gonna give up either 3 home runs or 3 runs or maybe more. Like, he just cannot stop giving up runs, and that's just where we are right now as a club. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna get a win.
I don't know about the win. You can't guarantee wins on anything.
No, but that's what we need. And
do Astros play Thursday? Yes, they do against Kansas City. And where are they? Are they in Kansas City or are they in Houston? They're actually at home in Houston, so that's not gonna. There's no guarantees on that.
The Royals are on a little heater. They came out of this weekend and they were 4 or 5 back of the Guardian or Indians to start the series. They came in, won 3 straight in Cleveland. They were 2 back, and now they're 1 back. They've really made a run, so they could pull out a stunner there in Houston. The question is, even if they win 3 games, the Mariners, again, it comes down to us. Are we going to give us 3 games, or are we going to flounder out?
At this point, I'm going to be crazy to say this, but Mariners control their own destiny. Like, I know, like, I even was saying it, like, when the Mariners fired Scott Service and everything was down, I was like, yes, the Mariners still have a chance and they can still control, and they still control their own destiny. Just like last year, they 100% controlled their own destiny.
They have controlled their own destiny most years recently, except for the 2014 where Beltre, there was that one, and the 2018 where it came down to the final game. Both games, the A's won both times. A's went to the playoffs.
Wait, let me correct you on that. 2014 came down to the Oakland A's.
Yeah.
Winning. No, they were to lose that game against Texas Rangers. They should have, but Texas didn't really care. 2016 was already over the day before, and 2018 it was done like a month to go.
Yeah, but I mean that 14 Beltre had bases loaded and should have hit a home run. And I know he sold. I know he could have beaten the A's that game.
Oh, are you talking about the Rangers game? Oh, that one, dude. Did you see that? Did you see that face? That Felix's expression. That face just said it all.
Yep.
Like, you literally felt for him. You're literally crying with him. We were all crying with him, and I remember how furious I was. I said my post was, Mariners better go out and make legit moves. This is a failure of a season. Of course, all the fans were like, but we won 85 plus games. It was a good season. No, you didn't make the playoffs.
That's just how it goes here in Seattle.
It really does. Especially the Mariners are the ones that have to make it so complicated. When you have the Seahawks, it's almost like we take it for granted when they make the playoffs. Kraken, I think we will take it for granted. And The Storm, even the Storm, we take it for granted that they make the playoffs.
I mean, the Sounders have been making the playoffs for the last 12 years as well.
Yeah, so that's pretty much what it is. Well, I think that shall do it. I really enjoyed the coverage of this game, even though it turned into a dumpster fire. I just want to thank you, Steve, for being on the show, Jay Trident for being on the first half, and Ian for being the relief pitcher. I think that's what the cycle is going to be. Steve or Jay, and then you are the closer, I guess. So maybe that's going to be the theme of the show. And I just want to let you guys know going forward that I will be welcoming callers, and that will be through that StreamYard link, or better yet, if I am able to set up like some kind of phone line for this show, because I know other people do it, and I have the interest of doing that so I can see how people feel. That's also on the table. But anyways, just want to say thank you. And once again, thank you, Ian. Thank you to the fans. I just want to thank every one of you. And I know that sounds like cliche and like lame, but I really do mean it. I really do mean it, because if it wasn't for all these comments, especially the Jared comments, the very unfiltering comments, this is a boring show without you guys. The show is carried by not only ourselves and Ian and Jay Trident and Steve, it's also carried by you guys, no matter how ridiculous your comments could be. But anyways, that's going to do it. And there he goes. He was so tired that he had to go. But I'm gonna call it. And everyone, have a good night. And he really did abrupt.